Season finale for the Raiders. They are 2-1 up against Pete Carroll and the 1-2 Seattle Seahawks. Coach Flores, Pete Carroll's back in the NFL after a brilliant 9-year run at the University of Southern California, where he won a couple of national championships and a 1.7 consecutive Pac-10s. He's back out of the NFL sideline where he was in the 90s with the Jets and the New England Patriots.
Yeah, he's back, and probably, I'm sure his approach is going to be a little different, but still, you can't change your own personality. His personality is a lot of high energy. He brings that to the field in practice, off the field in their meeting rooms, and obviously he's going to bring it to the sideline. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it takes him. We'll see how far he's come as far as the National Football League is concerned.
Like Tom Cable's Raiders, the Seahawks were 5-11 a year ago. Tom Cable's Raiders, technically, Jim, are 2-1. Winning on the road in Dallas and Chicago to open the preseason. And Saturday night was a loss to the 49ers, 28-24. But keep in mind, when the starters were pulled by both sides, the Raiders had a 24-21 lead in the third quarter against the Niners.
Yeah, and as we've talked about before, preseason is getting ready for the start of the regular season. They have played well this entire preseason. As JT said, showed signs of brilliance at times, but also they had a few breakdowns both offensively and defensively. And another thing to look at, last year the Seahawks were 4-0 in preseason, wound up 5-11. So preseason is not a tell-all for the start of the regular season.
Swayze Waters is going to handle the opening kick and all the placements and probably the punch. The Raiders are going to hold out almost all of their starters, both on offense and defense tonight. We'll detail that for you. Cord Parks is back to return the opening kickoff for Seattle. The Raiders in their home black jerseys, silver pants, and Seattle wearing white on white. White jerseys, white pants, and some green piping down the pant leg. From the Coliseum, we're underway. The final preseason game. Good kickoff by Swayze Waters. Parks will take it 7 yards deep. Comes to the goal line and comes out after the pause. He made a bad call there, and he will not make the 20. Coach, one thing to stutter a couple of times and then decide to come out.
He got a little too cute, I think. He was trying to pretend that he was going to take a knee and then come out and maybe surprise the Raiders, but the only one he surprised or the only guys he surprised were his own teammates.
Now, the original plan was for Matt Hasselbeck to play a series or two, but when the Seattle coaches find out the Raiders were going to hold their starters out, they may hold a lot of their guys out. So Charlie Whitehurst, the former San Diego Charger backup, will open the game as Seattle's starting quarterback. 1st and 10 at Seattle on their own 16-yard line. Straight drop by Whitehurst, a lob down the left side. It is dropped by Dion Butler. That was a nice ball there right over the top of the Raiders coverage. We take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Wrangler 5-Star Jeans. And we don't know if all these guys are actually starting the game. Julius Jones and Owen Schmidt will be in the backfield. Deion Branch and TJ Hushmanzada. That was Dion Butler on the first ball. John Carlson, their right tight end from Notre Dame. Mansfield Roto, Ben Hamilton, Chris Spencer, Max Unger, the former Oregon Dunk, and Sean Locklear. Right up on the line they go again in a 2nd and 10. This is Julius Jones, former Dallas Cowboy. A flag comes down, thrown in the offensive backfield. That'll be a hold on one of the Seattle linemen. Jeff Triplett is our referee tonight. It's on Chris Spencer as we check the Raiders starters. Lamar Houston and Trevor Scott will start on the defensive line. And as Quentin Groves, Ricky Brown, and Thomas Howard, your linebacking core. In the secondary, Chris Johnson, after missing 2 in a row with a hamstring injury, will start. Jeremy Ware, the other corner. Hiram Eugene, the deep middle, with Mike Mitchell. A regular 5-star lineup. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Real comfortable jeans. A hold on Seattle will drop them back on their 8-yard line. 2nd down and 18. With a bearded Charlie Whitehurst from Clemson back on the goal line. Throws out left, caught by Dion Butler. Tackled immediately hard by Hiram Eugene. Nice open field tackle, Jim, by Eugene. Is known for his sideline to sideline range in the deep middle, but that time he dropped his shoulder and drove Butler down.
He did. It was zone coverage. He came up, made a good tackle, didn't let him get any extra yards after the catch. A real fine technique used by Hiram Eugene, I think.
Hiram Eugene hoping to make the Raiders again in his 5th year out of Louisiana Tech. 3rd down and 7 for the Seahawks. The Niners converted 7 of 16 on 3rd down Saturday. That was a problem with the Raiders defensively. Whitehurst going to tuck it and run. He'll slide forward and give himself up. He should not get the spot for the 1st down here. Ricky Brown was there to cover him up. Tom, as he went down to the ground, we'll see where the spot of the football is, but he's going to be short, and the Raiders will force a punt.
Yeah, it was kind of an ugly slide, too. I don't know if he was trying to, I think it was between a slide and going head first and trying to get the 1st down, but it didn't look very good, and he came up short. He didn't know where the sticks were, but also this is a preseason game.
John Ryan, one of the very best punters in pro football, is back by the way of Regina, Saskatchewan. Yaman Figures back to return this punt. Ryan, a very strong leg. He has room to go, though. 25-30, breaks a tackle. Now he's dropped on the 31-yard line by defensive back Roy Lewis, who got in there for Brian Schneider. He is the Seattle Seahawks special teams coordinator with the Raiders for a couple of years. Bruce Gradkowski, Jim, hoping to pick up where he left off here on Saturday, 14-22 for 202 yards, a 74-yard seam route to Lewis Murphy, a later touchdown pass to Zach Miller. He was on fire on Saturday.
He certainly was, especially when he first started. Actually got to be a little catch-up at the end of the game, and the Niners were playing a lot of zone defense and prevented him from tying up the score, or going ahead, I should say. But I think he surprised everybody by the way he came in and performed after being hurt so often this offseason. 1st and 10 Raiders on their 31, play action to Michael Bennett. Gradkowski get a sidearm one and just throw it away as he got a little pressure right in the middle. Let's check out the Raider offensive line tonight. All different alignment for the Raiders O-line and back. Sirac Cartwright, Manasseh Tonga will be in the backfield. Darius Hayward-Bay will start with Todd Watkins, Brandon Myers at tight end. The offensive line, Khalif Barnes will start at left tackle. Daniel Loper will start at left guard. Samson Satelli at center. Bruce Campbell at right guard. And the Raiders will start the veteran Eric Piers at right tackle. The lone starter for the Raiders to start on offense tonight, Darius Hayward-Bay. 2nd and 10, handoff Michael Bennett up the middle, stacked up by Colin Cole and tackled by the former Raider Chris Clemens after no gain. Colin Cole is a big guy at 330 pounds. Right in the middle of this four-man defense. They'll also stand up Clemens and show some 34 look. Brett Bryant, Colin Cole, Brandon Mebane from Cal. Lofa Tatupa, the three-time Pro Bowler, back in the middle of the linebacking core. Aaron Curry won't play tonight. Will Herring will start at strong side linebacker. Marcus Trufant is back after an injury riddled last year. Kelly Jennings with Earl Thomas, the rookie round one out of Texas, and Rory Malloy, the Pro Bowler from New England and Buffalo in Atlanta. 3rd and 11 for Gradkowski, back throwing one deep down the left sideline. Well covered. Hayward-Bay stride for stride. A flag comes in, and they're going to get a pass interference call on Kelly Jennings.
Wow.
Not a lot of contact there, but they called a PI on Jennings.
Well, he must have impeded his movement towards the ball. Didn't give him a chance to to reroute to catch that ball, because that ball was not catchable. He was thrown the outside and a little short.
Here's Jeff Triplett.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. First down.
What'd you see there, Jim?
Not very much contact down there. I didn't get a good look, and here you go again. And yeah, he puts his hands on him. It's definitely pass interference. He got his arm on him.
Yeah, that's an arm bar. See the replay.
And that's what sometimes, even though you don't complete a pass like that, I think it has a dramatic effect on those defenders.
That's why you throw it deep. There are several reasons. If you don't even complete the pass, opens up the top of the defense, and it also gets you some calls. Here's Michael Bennett off the left side. He is hit by the strong side backer Will Herring, and Earl Thomas, their rookie round one pick, number 14 overall at a Texas time, came up from the deep secondary. This guy looks like a playmaker for the Seattle Seahawks, pushing Bennett out after no gain.
Yeah, that was, and I remember draft day when they took him. That was a kind of a surprise, because everybody felt that he might be heading for their, the safety out of out of USC.
Taylor Mays.
Taylor Mays that went to the Niners instead.
He wound up going number 49 overall to the Niners. 2nd down and 10, Raiders on the Seattle 32. Gradkowski straight drop has Bennett in the right flat. He screens to Tonga left. A couple of blocks, one by Satelli. No flag. 1st down, 10-5. Touchdown! Raiders! Tonga fumbled the ball, but after he crossed the goal line and landed it in the north end zone. Boy, the Raiders, Jim, have run some great screens this spring, this training camp, this preseason, and in particular to their fullbacks.
Yes, they have. Good fake by Gradkowski to the right. Had Tonga on the left. Excellent. Executed excellently. There he goes. A good run by him, and he gets into the end zone by a good long stretch at the end.
We mentioned the block by Samson Satelli. How about the block by Darius Hayward-Bay, Tom, to get him the last 10 yards?
All the blocks were good. The lineman, the timing was perfect. But you're right when you bring up the point that they have been very, very effective with their screens this year, and the fullbacks have been a big part of it.
Swayze Waters with the point after for a 3rd straight game. The Oakland Raiders on their first possession have driven the length of the field for a touchdown. 81 yards in Chicago, 81 yards on Saturday against the Niners. Tonight, they go 69 yards in 4 plays, a big PI, and in the end zone on the 46-yard screen to Tonga. Touchdown. By you. Nice blocking here. Nicely designed, coach, to get him in the flat. Daniel Loper, a nice block on Kelly Jennings, Sattelli, and then Darius Hayward-Bay, the last block.
Yeah, very good. All the blocks were executed almost perfectly, and especially the block by Loper, man, he just leveled the corner. Who was it? Jennings just leveled him, and almost knocked him into the nickel seats.
And one thing you can say about these things, those screens don't just happen. They've spent a lot of time at training camp perfecting them.
Kickoff is short here by Swayze Waters, coming running right up as Parks to take it before it landed nicely. He lets that bounce. That could be a problem for the Seahawks. So he atones for the earlier starter out of the end zone by running up time and not letting that ball hit the ground. Jerome Boyd on the tackle for the Raiders. So Seattle will start on their 29 when we come back. 7-0 Raiders. 11:20 to go in the opening quarter. This is the Raiders. Papa Tom Flores, Jim Plunkett up in the boot. You met JT the Brick. George Atkinson. I believe you know George, though. George is downstairs. Hey, George.
Hey, what's up, guys? You know, a lot of guys' careers are on the line tonight. We talked about that. That's well documented. In order for them to make this team and this roster, guys, they have to play within themselves. They got to play smart, and they got to play fast.
Well, they're off to a good start. George, Raiders special teams doing a nice job. Defense, Tom, was good, and the offense right down the field with some good blocking. Well, this is a night for the second and third stringers to impress one last time and try to make the 53. There's a first down handoff to Julius Jones, tackled by Quentin Groves, who was starting at weak side linebacker tonight. Tom, former Jacksonville Jaguar, round 2 pick, number 52 overall in 08, a 2-year Jaguar. Raiders got him for merely a 5th-round draft pick.
Yeah, and Trevor Scott started at one end as well. You know, after having played linebacker the previous 3 games, now they're playing him at his old position, which is defensive end. He lining up mostly on the weak side.
2nd and 8, Seattle on their own 31-yard line. They go into a slot formation left. Golden Tate, the rookie, in the slot. A deep ball by Whitehurst for Mike Williams, the one-time Raider, and he overthrew him. Pretty well covered there by Walter McFadden. Whitehurst known as a guy with a good deep throwing arm. And McFadden is limping a bit, Tom, as he ran stride for stride with Mike Williams. Not a good sign there.
No, that looks like that's a hamstring kind of waddle off the field.
Walter McFadden's had a good camp and a good preseason, the rookie. Round 5 draft pick out of Auburn. Again, his older brother, Brian McFadden, a Steeler, a Cardinal, and now back to Pittsburgh. Joe Porter will come in and play that corner spot. Tonight's broadcast of the National Football League is brought to you by Bud Light. One nation, one beer, Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And here goes Charlie Whitehurst and the Seahawks on a 3rd down and 8 out of the gun. Going to throw out left. Nobody there. A stop route there by Ben Obamanu. Well covered by Jeremy Ware. And he just ran a little deeper than Whitehurst thought, Jim. He thought he was going to run that out cut much shorter, and he ran it more down the sideline.
Well, also, they had a safety blitz on, or corner blitz on, came after him. Charlie right there, number 23.
As Ware blitzed.
And he had to get rid of it sooner than he wanted to, and that's what pressure does. Makes the quarterback make some errant throws and some throws quicker than they want to. Raiders
force another 3 and out. John Ryan into punt. The Raiders almost blocked that right in the middle. That was Thomas Howard with pressure. Yaman Figures to, Johnny Lee Higgins now returning this punt. And he takes that across the 35-yard line and dropped on the 36-yard line. 43-yard punt. And Will Herring on the tackle of Johnny Lee Higgins. We have 10:25 to play in this first quarter. Bruce Gradkowski has engineered a scoring drive already. He will go back to work. 1-800-RAIDERS, Raiders.com. And the Raiders do have a staff member of the office right now as we speak in Alameda to take your personal phone call if you want to be a part of it. Raiders have looked very good this August and September. A lot of observers feel like they may win the AFC West this year. The real season starts in 10 days in Nashville. And in 17 days, the Raiders will open the home schedule here against the St. Louis Rams on September the 19th. Be there, be here. Here's Gradkowski, a pump fake. Now going to throw a deep one down the right sideline for Hayward-Bay. He went up and took it down. And he came down in bounds. What a catch by Darius Hayward-Bay. Jumped right over the rookie Walter Thurman with 2 hands. Tom just went up and swallowed up the football.
He used his size and his strength, and you know he's put on some weight since he came as a rookie. It was a nice pump job by Gradkowski, looking both ways and putting the ball up, and Hayward-Bay makes a nice jump catch. Great body control, and there's one happy guy after having made that catch.
And that's what the Raiders saw out of Maryland. Not just the 4.3 40-yard dash time, but the 6 feet 2 inch size and the ability to go vertical. Michael Bennett off the right side, breaks a tackle inside the Seahawks 25 and dropped on the Seattle 22-yard line. Well, the Raider offense, Jim, is really dialing up some plays now.
Yeah, and Bruce Gradkowski's in there with a somewhat experienced line, except for Bruce Campbell. Those guys have played a lot of football together on the offensive line. So he's although it's a second unit, it's a relatively experienced second unit.
Gain of 6 by Michael Bennett. 2nd and 4 Raiders. Bennett has had a very good preseason, averaging 5 yards a pop. He is the lone back here. Slot formation left. Gradkowski a handoff to Bennett coming right, cuts back inside, and he gets whatever he can, and not a lot. And the play that was designed to go wide, he cut it back inside, but he still picks up a yard or 2, bringing up a 3rd down. Michael Bennett will take the play off here, and the Raiders will bring in Rock Cartwright, former Washington Redskin. We talked about the battle behind McFadden and Bush. Tom, who's going to be the number 3? Now, it's very possible the Raiders will keep both running backs, Rock Cartwright and Michael Bennett.
Well, it's possible because of the injury, and we're not sure how long that injury is going to be to Bush. They might keep 4 running backs and maybe just 1 fullback.
Out of the shotgun is Gradkowski. Cartwright blocks, throw, stop route, but it was not there for Darius Haywood-Bay. He went down the sideline more on the coverage of Thurman. And Gradkowski wanted him to come back a little bit, Jim, or stop that route against the sideline. Incomplete. 4th down. Raiders will bring in Swayze Waters here for a 41-yard field goal attempt. Shane Leckler will hold. The Raiders don't have anybody else to do that job, and John Kondo will snap. This is from the grass, just off the dirt baseball infield, going towards the north uprights here in Oakland on this beautiful Thursday evening. Kondo's snap, a Pro Bowler, a little high, but Leckler's got it done. Waters has plenty of distance, and it is good. The Raiders score again. They have scored on each of their first 2 offensive possessions, a touchdown, and now a 41-yard field goal by Waters. They lead 10-0 over the Seahawks on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Football's fabulous females, a lot to cheer so far as the Raiders have scored on their first 2 possessions. This last drive, 5 plays and 41 yards. And a little under 2 minutes, 1:56 off the clock. Swayze Waters bangs through a 41-yard field goal, and the Raiders lead 10-0. Reminder to visit your local store to pick up New Amsterdam Gin and find out how to get discounted Raider tickets from New Amsterdam Gin. Swayze Waters will kick from south to north. Cord Parks is back to return this kickoff. Leon Washington is going to be Seattle's kickoff returner when the regular season starts. Talking to Brian Schneider, their special teams coordinator before the game, the former New York Jet. Very short kickoff here by Waters. Parks lets it bounce. Take it on one hop at the 17. Comes forward, 30, 35 by Waters down the sideline midfield. Raider 40. Ware trying to run him down will push him out of bounds across the Raider 30-yard line. Well, we take Sebastian Janikowski for granted and the depth he gets on his kickoffs. That's 2 in a row that Swayze Waters couldn't even make the 15-yard line.
I'm just curious, though. He did the same thing the kick prior, and I don't know if it was designed to do that because the first kickoff he put all the way back into the end zone, so I don't know if that was planned or not.
What do you think, Tom? Are the last 2 pooched up intentionally, or just hit him?
I might have to agree with Jim on that one because he certainly has a stronger leg than that.
There's Charlie Whitehurst standing off to Julius Jones, former Dallas Cowboy, who has not had a very good exhibition season. Seahawks are having a hard time getting their running game going. Alex Gibbs, the one-time Raider offensive line coach, is with Pete Carroll running that zone blocking scheme, and they've had very mixed results to be kind. Hiram Eugene on the tackle. 2-yard pickup by Julius Jones. We'll see Justin Forsett a little bit later on, and also the aforementioned Leon Washington. Charlie Whitehurst did not throw a pass his 4 years backing up Phillip Rivers in San Diego. Played in 2 games, did not throw a single pass. Hand off Julius Jones, and he is dropped on the Raider 24-yard line. Mike Mitchell came up, Jim, to make the tackle.
Yes, he did. But you mentioned the running game of Seattle. There with Alex Gibbs, you expect it to be a real fine running game. But during the previous 3 preseason games, they've only rushed for 8 first downs, and that's not very much, believe me.
Pete Carroll with his special teams coordinator Brian Schneider, who was the Raiders special teams coordinator in 07-08. They're talking about the field goal going towards the black hole in the south end zone here. Right now they're on the 25-yard line of the Raiders. 3rd down and 5. Whitehurst throws too high for Julius Jones. Well covered there by Chris Johnson, the Raider left cornerback who missed the last 2 preseason games in Chicago and Saturday against the Niners with that hamstring injury, Tom. But he played that ball well. He back in the flat there.
Yeah, a pretty good battle going. And Chris playing tonight, trying to get his old form back because the Stanford route has made a great push this summer to become that starting left corner.
I think what Coach Carroll was asking Brian Schneider, how far can you kick off that baseball dirt infield? Well, Orlando Murray has a strong leg. This guy at age 37 is almost always automatic. He is kicking with a calf injury, but just swings the leg so easily. And right down the middle is Orlando Mare. Missed only 3 field goals all of last year. So Mare is good there, and the Seahawks are on the board. 10-3 Raiders, 7 minutes to go in the quarter on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. They're starting defensive ends tonight. Lamar Houston getting some run at left defensive end, Tom, and Trevor Scott playing at right defensive end tonight as a starter for defensive line coach Mike Waffle. Trevor Scott was a defensive end to begin his pro career after playing some tight end collegiately at the University of Buffalo. And he has been trying to make the conversion to weak side linebacker, but he's a versatile player. The Raiders will use him in a lot of roles this year. Yaman Figures is back to return this kickoff of Orlando Mare after Mare made his 43-yard field goal. Mare, very strong leg, 22 touchbacks last year, 5th in the National Football League, former Syracuse Orangeman. This one will be taken by Figures at the 6, coming right 20. Breaks a tackle down the sideline, 30. Owen Schmidt, the fullback, will shove him out, but not before he crosses the 40-yard line. Nice return there by Yaman Figures. And a very good drive start for the Oakland Raiders. They will begin on their 41-yard line. 6:52 to play in the opening quarter. Raiders 10, Seahawks 3. This is the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.
Welcome back to the Raiders Broadcasting Network. JT on the Raiders sideline. The Raiders in their last 3 games have scored on the opening drive, proving that offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson wants an explosive offense, and he wants the fullback to catch the ball downfield. And Darius Hayward-Bay, he's here to make plays. It's time for him to step up and be an impact guy. Greg, a big catch in the opening drive. The sideline is excited that the offense is moving.
And he had 2 catches in the opening drive last Saturday against the 49ers in that 81-yard touchdown drive. And they're driving not just for points, field goals, but touchdowns. Here's a reverse to Johnny Lee Higgins, a block by Bradkowski, but he blocked the wrong guy. As Walter Thurman came over and made the tackle from the cornerback position, Bradkowski blocked inside. I guess you block inside first, but Thurman just so good there, and he blew up that reverse for no gain.
Well, it's not like quarterbacks block all that often, you know. He had 2 guys, he didn't know which one to get, so he got neither one of them.
Yeah, he got neither one.
Yeah, I know, that happens with a quarterback every now and then.
You did a better job than that with Marcus.
Oh, much better.
Yeah.
Isn't that play designed for the pulling quarterback to blow out both of those guys?
Absolutely.
Now, they actually got a yard there on the reverse to Johnny Lee. 2nd and 9, lone back is Cartwright. Gradkowski back, pressured now and sacked. Back on the Raiders' 35-yard line, got hit right in the middle of the playing field. That's Amon Gordon, the former Stanford Cardinal, Jim, who busted right through. And Gradkowski getting some help from Khalid Barnes, has to get his shoulder pads back in his jersey and the line properly. He got popped.
Yeah, once in a while when you have pressure right up the middle, the quarterback has nowhere to step up into, and unfortunately that was the case that time, and he just went down, nowhere to go.
Samson Satelli is making the start at center tonight after missing last week with the ankle injury. Jared Valdir started Saturday against the 49ers. So loss is 6 there on the sack. 3rd and 15 Raiders. Shotgun Gradkowski. He's pressured again, backing up, and throws the ball into the feet of Rock Cartwright to avoid an intentional grounding and just get the ball out of there again. Coach, he got pressured and had to just throw the ball away.
Well, they went to the well again on the screen that time. When you're 3rd down and 14 or 15 yards, they're going to sit back. They're not going to bite on anything. The defense is going to be very patient, let you throw those screens, and let you throw anything short, in hopes that you won't make the 14 yards and you'll have to punt.
First punt of the game. Justin Forsett, the former Cal Bears, back to return the punt of Shane Lechler, who received the Golden Toe Award before the game. That's a bad cut. It hit Forsett, and the Raiders will get it. You can't run a muff punt in. It was picked up out of the air by Stevie Brown. It is not a touchdown. You cannot return a muff punt. But the ball was inadvertently touched by Justin Forsett as Lechler unlike him, did not blast that one. It bounced off the ground, jumped up hard, and hit Forsett on the shoulder pad and ricocheted right to Stevie Brown. Raider football on the Seattle 16-yard line.
Wow, pretty clever. Pretty clever, because that was a short kick, you're right, and he was trying to field it, and boy, that's a tough thing to try to field a punt, because you never know, it takes strange bounces. That time it took a strange bounce, hit him right, it went doink, hit him right on the top of the forehead, and it's a muff.
And one of the things that Steve Brown is and has been, he's always around the ball. 2 interceptions, now that muff punt, he's been showing up each and every preseason game.
Well, I think the short distance of the punt, Leckler, who normally bangs him 50 yards, hit that one just 38 yards, and Forsett had to come up. The ball hit the ground and hit him right off the face mask. Here's Gradkowski now throwing, and a catch made by Brandon Myers. First and goal, Raiders on the 3-yard line. Nice pass there by Bruce Gradkowski, putting that between a couple of Seattle defenders right into the backup tight end, Brandon Myers.
And Brandon Myers making a nice push to become the second tight end. Now that Tony Stewart is out of the picture, Brandon Myers becomes the second tight end.
72 reports as an eligible receiver. Number 72 is eligible.
That is Eric Pierce, who the Raiders normally bring in on the goal line, but Eric has actually been playing at right tackle. They brought in Chris Morris as an extra lineman. Raiders trying to punch this football into the north end zone here and go up by 3 scores. First and goal, Raiders on the Seahawk 3-yard line. Tonga lead play. Michael Bennett stacked up and he lost yardage. Tonga not a good lead block there as that whole thing got pushed back, Jim, and Bennett wound up getting stuffed for a yard loss.
Yeah, good defensive play by the entire defensive line of the Seattle Seahawks. Just clogged it up, nowhere to go, and consequently stuffed for about a yard loss.
Tonight's broadcast of the National Football League is brought to you by Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans for long-lasting comfort. The right choice is Wrangler. 4:15 and counting to play in this opening quarter. Raiders up 10-3 on the Seahawks. Second down and goal from the 4-yard line. Brandon Myers, the tight end, flexes out wide left, a bunch formation right, flag down. Gradkowski throws back in the end zone, caught for a touchdown to Darius Hayward-Bay, but let's see what the flag is for. This is likely against the Raiders.
Well, both the referee and the umpire threw flags.
Number 72 did not reported the previous play as an eligible receiver. Then stayed in play.
Technicality.
In the ineligible position. As an illegal position, 5-yard penalty is still first down.
Number 72 is this Raiders starting right tackle, Eric Pierce.
Yeah.
And because he was backed up too far off the line,
No,
Coach?
because the previous play, he was an eligible receiver. He went from an eligible receiver back to an ineligible receiver when they went out of their short yardage offense, and you have to report that. You got to report
that I'm no longer eligible and I'm back to playing as a tackle.
You got to report it. That's the technicality. Yeah.
All right, good to know in the preseason if the Raiders have to use Pierce at right tackle, they like to bring him in as the outside extra tackle on the goal line. Second and goal, play action at Bennett. Gradkowski, plenty of time. Now he's going to fire one. It is caught for a touchdown by Johnny Lee Higgins. Nice pass there by Gradkowski, Jim. Looked it over and then bulleted that ball in there.
And one of the things that Gradkowski has going for him is his mobility. He started to step up. He kind of draws in the defense sometimes, and he's able to get that ball on a good throw to Johnny Lee Higgins for a touchdown.
And also that time, Jim and Greg, the offensive line, that was great protection. I mean, he had all day to look at about 3 different wide receivers.
He really did. He looked left, came back right, looked middle, stepped up in the pocket, and then threw a bullet to Johnny Lee Higgins, and he was pretty well covered there by Earl Thomas. So the Raiders, 1 punt, otherwise 2 touchdown drives and a field goal. Swayze Waters with the point after. 17-3 Raiders, and we're still 3 minutes and 50 seconds away from the end of the opening quarter. Tremendous protection there, Tom. The Raider offensive line really sealing off after Gradkowski got hit earlier.
Yeah, that was the protection was very good. Gradkowski just kept his eyes down the field, never took him off the field, scrambled a little bit, finally found an open receiver.
And these are the battles, Jim. When they look at the film of this game, the Raider coaches, they look over the offensive line. They got to decide between this backup group right now. Khalif Barnes playing at left tackle. He can also play guard. Daniel Loper with a nice block on that touchdown screen to Tonga. Satelli at center. Bruce Campbell playing at right guard. Eric Pierce, who we've met at right tackle. They seem to be all playing well as a five-side.
Yeah, they certainly are. And one of the things Coach Cable said this week was, the guys that are on the bubble, they're on the bubble for a reason. They've got to show up during this last preseason game, their last chance to make this football team. They haven't shown up so far this preseason. Now's a chance to shine.
Can't wait. 10 days from now, the Raiders kick off the real thing. Swayze Waters, I'm with you guys now. I think the last two he pooch. Cord Parks will take it 3 yards deep in the end zone. 20, moves inside on Ware, breaks a tackle there at Sam Williams. A flag is down, and Parks is dropped shy of the 40-yard line. That'll be an illegal block of some kind on the Seahawks. Nice return there by Cord Parks. Here's Jeff Triplett.
During the return, holding 52 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Matt McCoy, the former Philadelphia Eagle and New Orleans Saint, the last couple of years a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So the Raiders begin the regular season in 10 days in Nashville. Play the home opener against the St. Louis Rams. That'll be in week 2. They play the AFC South this year, Tom. So we get the Houston Texans the first weekend in October in week 4, and they're going to be minus Brian Cushing for that game. Their great young linebacker from USC is suspended for the first 4 games of the year. So a good chance for the Raiders to get off to a great start. Pre-snap penalty called on Seattle. They false started, and that'll drop them back 5 yards to their 12-yard line.
Here you mentioned SC with Houston.
Snap infraction, offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty, first down.
But Coach Pete Carroll over there for Seattle has got 6 former USC players on this squad right now. So he's dipping into the well quite a bit from his old school.
Is that all?
That's
all.
all.
He would have had 20 or 30.
You'd think.
That was Mike Gibson, who false started, the former Cal Bear. So he's got a few of Jeff Tedford's as well. Mike from Napa High. There's a nice swerving run on the toss play to Julius Jones. And he is hit hard by Jeremy Ware, round 7 draft pick out of Michigan State. Tom, you were talking earlier how when you cut, you would bring certain guys into the room to talk to personally, and all of the drafted players who did not make the Raiders that particular year you would speak to personally. But the Raider draft class, it's possible that every drafted player makes the roster this year. They played extremely well.
Yeah, they all have made their appearance well known and made plays, and so it's going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough cut for them.
Here's a catch and a run by Mike Williams, the former USC Trojan. Beat Chris Johnson on a slant route, darting inside on him. Mike Williams was a Raider, trying to resurrect his career after being a high draft pick at USC to the Detroit Lions. And, boy, he's gotten in so much better shape, Coach, and he can run that slant. He's a big target.
He's a big target. And when he was here, he weighed about 250. He looked more like a tight end and ran like a slug. But he's really trimmed down.
They list him at 235 on a 6'5 body, but he is taut, and he has made some big plays in the preseason. Of course, played for Coach Carroll at SC. Whitehurst, a play action on the stretch left, a roll right, nowhere to go. He'll dive inside on Quentin Groves. Nicely done by the Raiders there. Seattle runs the USC, kind of a Denver Bronco type offense when Mike Shanahan was there. Coach, were a lot of outside zone. They fake the wide stretch left and boot back the other way, drag a tight end or a receiver, and the Raiders played it well.
Yeah, they played it well. They've seen it before. Gibbs was the line coach with the Raiders for a very short time and for a lot longer at Denver with Mike Shanahan, and this is his type of running game and offense. 2nd
and 12 for Charlie Whitehurst. They go into an I formation behind him. A draw to Julius Jones up the middle. Gets lost. Inside of the pack, right in the middle, comes out the left side and picks up a couple. Drops shy of the 40-yard line on the 39-yard line. Matt Shaughnessy in on the tackle, playing at right defensive end. Shaughnessy did not start the game tonight. Was he on that tackle? No, that was not Matt Shaughnessy. Was it? I guess it was Shaughnessy who made the tackle. Did not start the game. William Joseph jogs off the field, playing in the defensive tackle rotation. 3rd down and 8 for Seattle with 90 seconds to go, and a Raider dominated opening quarter. They lead 17-3. Whitehurst, who the Seahawks gave up a draft pick and then gave an $8 million contract to, throws out left, catch, first down. That's Justin Forsett beating Ricky Brown. Nicely done, Forsett, a very good pass catcher. And he picks up the first down there. 1st and 10, Seattle, Jim, out to their 47-yard line.
You know, tough job for Ricky Brown that time to have to cover Forsett out of the backfield one-on-one. You know, the odds are that he's probably going to get beat, and he did that time. Just a lot of speed out of the backfield.
Justin Forsett averaged 5.4 yards a carry last year when Jim Mora was the head coach. The Seahawks have had 3 different head coaches in 3 years now. Mike Holmgren, Jim Mora, and now Pete Carroll. Throw out left and a drop by Quinton Ganther. Ganther, who was a Redskin, grew up in the Bay Area, went to Fairfield High School here and played very well last year when he came back with the Redskins. Quentin Groves on the coverage. Quentin Groves, Tom, battling not just for a roster spot, but I think maybe a starting spot in this linebacking core. He's playing well tonight.
Well, he's playing well. He's very quick, and you know he's got some experience. So this is nothing new to him being there in a situation like this.
Last year he started 7 games for Jack Del Rio and the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2nd and 10, Seattle on their 49-yard line. 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. Thomas Howard in the blitz. Whitehurst a lob down the right sideline for Golden Tate. What a catch, and he stays in bounds. What a throw by Whitehurst. He can throw the deep ball extremely well right down the right sideline outside the numbers on Chris Johnson. Beautiful catch, Jim, by Golden Tate.
You know, I've seen a lot of Golden Tate over the last couple of years when they've played Stanford, both at Notre Dame and at Stanford. And one of the things I'm most impressed by is not only his ability to get deep and catch the football, but after he catches the ball, he's like a running back. He's really hard to bring down.
He's got great feet. Just watching him in the warm-ups and catching the ball, he's got actually he's got feet. You're right. He's got feet like a running back.
1st and 10, Seattle on the 20-yard line. Whitehurst throws middle. It is broken up, trying to hit Cameron Mora, the former Cal Bear tight end, and that was well done by Stevie Brown again. That guy just keeps showing up on film. Coach number 27 in black is making plays.
Well, he's one of those guys, like you said. It looks like, you know, it's going to be pretty hard to cut any of the guys drafted this year, and he was one of the seven-round draft choices. He and Jeremy Ware were both taken in the 7th round, and Walter McFadden was taken in the 5th round. They've all made plays this summer.
Stevie Brown trying to make the conversion from a linebacker at Michigan to a free safety in the NFL. There's a toss play to Julius Jones. He got nothing. That'll be the final play of the opening quarter.
This is the end of the first quarter.
Thank you, Jeff Triplett. All Raiders in that opening quarter. A couple of touchdowns and a field goal. 17-3 Raiders over the Seahawks after 15 minutes of play on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum on this Thursday evening, the 2nd day of September, final preseason game. All around the NFL, all 32 teams are winding up the preseason. League will kick off next Thursday in New Orleans, the Vikings and the Saints in a rematch of the NFC title game. Raiders start in 10 days in Nashville. Seattle opens at home against the Niners. 3rd down and 10. Seattle on the Raider 20, first play, 2nd quarter, handoff. Justin Forsett with a bop way wide right. And still not down, comes off a tackle there and back in the field of play, and he ran about 20 yards to gain 2 yards as he was hit by Mike Mitchell, Tom, on the sideline. Raiders swarming all over the field there.
Yeah, he went straight up the gut and then just bounced to the outside. I'm not sure why he bounced, because there was a little cutback lane there, but maybe that was the way it was designed.
Mike Mitchell, Jim, coming from deep center field. That guy is a heat-seeking missile. He loves to hit.
He does, but we haven't seen that much of him this preseason.
Well, because the Raiders have a good secondary, Michael Huff and Tyvon Branch. High snap from center. It is pulled down by the holder there, John Ryan, the punter, and Olindo Marley, who has made 21 consecutive in the regular season, drives that one through. And the Seahawks have their 2nd field goal of the game from Mare. That one from 36 yards out, of the Raider lead is 17-6 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to our simulcast on the Raiders television and radio networks from the Oakland Coliseum. Raiders lead 17-6, 48 seconds into the 2nd quarter. Bruce Gradkowski is going to play the entire first half. And then in the second half, we're going to see Kyle Bowler quarterback the Raiders. Ramon Figures is back to return this kickoff from Olindo Mare, kicking towards the north end zone here at the Coliseum. Good kickoff by Mare. It'll be taken by Figures, goal line. It'll come left. Breaks one tackle wide, 15-20. A block from Michael Bennett and pushed out of bounds on the 30-yard line. Nicely done by Michael Bennett back there with Figures to give him a block down the sideline. Out to the 30-yard line he runs. Dexter Davis, the Arizona State Sun Devil, on the tackle for Pete Carroll. Raiders ball when we come back on the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network. Raiders up 17-6 early in the second quarter. They had a short field the last time they had the ball. Short punt by Leckler off the face mask of Justin Forsett, mocked right to Stevie Brown. Raiders take it on the 16-yard line. And Jim, they like to throw around the goal line. Bruce Gradkowski plenty of time. And he will hit Johnny Lee Higgins for the Raider touchdown. Raiders are going to bring in Jacoby Ford now to play at wide receiver. First and 10 Raiders on their 30-yard line. Hand off to Rock Cartwright coming right. And not a lot there. So far in the game, Tom, Bruce Gradkowski again has had glittering numbers. 4 of 7, 88 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and a QB rating over 141. But the running game has yet to really get on track tonight.
Yeah, there's not much there. They've had a few little short runs, but nothing spectacular. A lot of the game, the score because of 17 points is because of field position. And the long interception, the long interference call.
Seattle Seahawks had a terrible year last year, 5-11, but they were a very good rush defense. Tough to run on this big front. There's a play action, a rollout right, a short throw taken by John Owens, the tight end, the former Seahawk. Down the sideline, he runs all the way out to midfield. John Owens, nice block there by Yaman Figures to help him get down the sideline. That is a catch and run of 21 yards.
And it's got to make John Owens feel awfully good against your former teammate. Make a nice catch and run. Makes you feel good after somebody lets you go.
Here's the block by Yaman Figures to help him get down that sideline. Nicely done. Owens played with Seattle last year. Made 3 starts and caught 3 passes. He's more of an inline blocker. Here's the handoff to Michael Bennett for no gain. Now, the Raiders have already cut Tony Stewart this week, the veteran tight end, and Eric Butler, who they just signed. So right now, Tom, they only have 3 tight ends on the roster. Zach Miller, of course, the starter. Brandon Myers, and then John Owens. So it's very conceivable the Raiders have kept 3 tight ends in the past. Maybe they'll keep just 2 this year, that Owens makes this team.
Well, that's the possibility that they keep 2 tight ends and instead of 2 fullbacks, the extra fullback with the possibility of being a 3rd tight end.
There's Owens going in motion, a good blocker. 2nd and 10, handoff to Michael Bennett. Good block by John Owens there. And Bennett not a lot much past that, though. Picks up only 3 to the Seattle 48-yard line, bringing up a 3rd down and 7. Bennett will run out. They'll bring in Rock Cartwright. And Jacoby Ford will also come in, Jim, a guy we're anxious to see play more. The Raider 4th-round draft pick out of Clemson. And the fastest time of any player at the Combine this year at Indianapolis, ran a 4.24.40.
You know, the key is to get him the ball, show what he can do out there on the football field in a game situation. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to get him the ball very often this preseason.
Slot right, Ford inside of Figures. Johnny Lee Higgins left, out of the gun. Gradkowski cocks to throw, now pulls it back, throws behind Johnny Lee Higgins on a crossing route. Incomplete, and Gradkowski got popped that time. He is slow to get up, but he is up, and he will jog off slowly.
I tell you, Bruce Gradkowski is a tough son of a gun out there. He gets knocked around, bounced around. He always gets back up.
Here's Shane Leckler in the punt. Gradkowski always gets back to the game, as you should. Fresh season of NFL action is here. Get close with great seats, even for sold-out games, or sell tickets you can't use to other fans. Just go to NFL.com/ticket exchange. Leckler, end over end, Aussie rules football style. Forsett's a smart guy. This time he's going to fair catch it after misplaying the previous one off the face mask for a muff. We're going to punt it Aussie rule style down to JT the Brick. Call for a fair catch, JT.
Thank you, Greg. We're with Jason Campbell. A lot of people were concerned when you went down against San Francisco. Not only did you get back on the sideline that game, you got back in practice this week. How you feeling?
Well, you know, Monday was a walkthrough day, so, you know, I was able to get out there and walk around and just do some corrections that we had from the game. But, you know, we really weren't doing a whole lot of movements. It was pretty much a walkthrough practice. So, you know, overall, you know, I'll be ready.
Greg?
All right, Jason, so you're good to go. We're going to see you 10 days from now in Nashville. You're going to be all right?
Yeah, I'll be all right. And, just go out, continue to keep practicing, and get myself healthy. And the most important thing is what we do over the weekend and preparing this week to go to Tennessee.
Here's Whitehurst throwing over the middle, Mike Williams, and he's out near a first down, dropped just shy by Hiram Eugene. Talk about what you guys are doing on that first script of Hugh Jackson's. I know you told me he scripts like the first 30 plays, which is incredible, but 3 straight games, you in Chicago, you last week against the Niners, and now Bruce tonight, you've taken the opening kickoff and driven all the way for a touchdown.
Yeah, tonight was the first time we didn't get the ball first in the preseason. We started laughing about that because usually we be getting the ball. But it's very important, to take that first drive and score in the game, especially when we was in Chicago, because it's more important because we was on the road. And the main thing you have to do on the road is try to take the crowd out of the game. And how you do that is by taking the drive down and putting some points on the board. And just go to show that, guys are paying attention to details. And we just got to continue to do that throughout the season and more and stay focused.
Seahawks picked up a first down. You were able to quarterback sneak it in Chicago to finish off the 81-yard drive. And last Saturday, it looked like you wanted to get the ball to Darius Hayward-Bay right away. You fed him a couple on that opening drive, Jace.
Yeah, that's one of our main factors coming into the game was to get 85 going, get him playing at a high level, get his confidence going, and just get him some catches, get him involved in the game plan. And we're getting ready to head for the regular season, and we're going to need him. It's going to be very important. He's going to be a big part of our offense, so we have to do as much as we possibly can this preseason to get his hands on some catches.
All right, the crowd is going wild here because Mike Mitchell just laid one of those YouTube video hits from Ohio days on Justin Forsett, Tom. He blew him up. It was a screen to Forsett in the right flat, and Mitchell blasted him.
Yeah, that was one of the hits, or the hit that Jim was alluding to earlier, that we haven't seen him do a lot of this summer, but he got a chance to do it there. That's what he can do.
Wow, that was a Ronnie Lott hit. 2nd and 10. Whitehurst back, throws one right flat, and now Forsett gets the alligator arms, Jim.
And you wonder why after that Mike Mitchell hit on the last play. But read very well by Mike Mitchell. Sees the back going out to the right flat, and he times it perfectly and just knocks the ball loose and probably a couple of teeth as well.
Hey, Jason Campbell, you're still downstairs with us?
I'm still here.
He does that in practice sometimes. You got to call that guy off.
Yeah, I got my popcorn ready.
He can light it up, though, can't he?
Yeah. He's a young headhunter. He's always looking for someone to hit. That's positive.
3rd down and 10. Seattle Raiders show blitz. Ricky Brown going to drop. Now they'll rush 4. Whitehurst throws down the right sideline. Caught by Ben Obamanu. That's a nice catch by Obamanu. And that'll be a first down. Seattle out to the Raider 40-yard line there. Well, that Whitehurst throws a deep ball, Tom, very well. Again, they go at Chris Johnson down the right sideline.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why they picked him up from San Diego, because this is what he can do. He can see the field. He's tall enough, and with 6'5", and he throws a very catchable ball.
It's hard to believe. 4 years, he's never thrown a pass in the NFL, but he's behind another really fine quarterback in Phillip Rivers.
1st and 10, Seattle on the Raider 39-yard line. There's a toss play to Justin Forsett, and he bangs down inside the Raider 33-yard line. 1-800-RAIDERS, Raiders.com to be a part of the Jason Campbell era. So, Jace, tell me about your first training camp with the Raiders up in Napa, obviously, a brand new offense to learn, but it seems like as you guys every day got better, each game we could see the first-team offense getting better and better.
Yeah, it was an exciting camp. I think the whole mindset and the attitude of the team had changed. Guys was willing to buy into what we was doing, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And the one thing we did each and every day, we competed against each other. We tried to make each other better in all positions, and not let things just drill to the side. We want to try to adapt to every problem and everything, and hold each other accountable. That's the main thing about this football team this season. No matter how big or how small, we hold each other accountable. So that's going to make us better as a football team. And besides the weather being 75 and 80 every day, outside of that, the only thing I can definitely say is this team will be a more disciplined football team this year.
Justin Forsett runs for a first down. You guys did have a couple of back-to-back days in the hundreds, though, right at the end before camp broke, but overall it was typical Napa moderate. There's the end around, a golden take. Nicely done there by Trevor Scott, Tom, to stay home on the backside. The Seahawks are hoping that he's going to come down too much, and Trevor Scott stayed home there.
Yeah, very disciplined on his part, showing that he's become a veteran, playing that defensive end spot that he played his first couple of years in the league. But Jason, are you getting pretty comfortable now with the Raiders? Is there a big difference between the Raider offense and what you experienced? Well, of course, you had a different coordinator every year for the last since you've been around.
Yeah, I had a different coordinator watching every year. And last season, I don't think we had the same starting lineup for 16 games offensively because of the injuries and all the different things that happened on the offensive line with injuries. So, hopefully this season we don't have to worry about that. Hopefully we'll all put it together and keep working and keep progressing. And like I say, I'm getting more and more comfortable with the guys. The more you play in games, the more you learn what guys do better in games, and we try to work our connection and feed off each other. So it's been overall a great training camp. We're looking forward to the season. I'm excited about the young guys that we have, and we will grow together, and we're looking forward to having a great year.
All right, Chase, we'll let you go. Thank you. Deion Butler of Seattle on a catch and run just ran for a touchdown as Thomas Howard was trying to call a timeout right in the middle of the field, and it was not granted. And the Seahawks get a touchdown. Here's the point after by Olindo Mate, and the Raider lead is down to 17-13. So a couple of nice passes there by Whitehurst. He finds Deion Butler out of Penn State, who scored a touchdown against the Raiders last preseason, and the Raider lead down to 4 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. 17-3 lead after one quarter is now down to 17-13. Thomas Howard was trying to call timeout, Jim, before the last snap, but the Raiders only have 10 players on the field.
I was trying to count the number of players, but then the special teams guys came running on and some came running off. So I only counted 10. I'm really not sure what the problem was, but apparently nobody was covering Deion Butler there.
Well, I'm counting 2 missed tackles on that play, Coach. One by Ricky Brown and one by Jeremy Ware, and that's a 26-yard touchdown there to Deion Butler.
Yeah, you can't tackle with the arm only. You got to square up on him, especially out of space.
All right, Jacoby Ford is back to return this kickoff. If Olindo Mare would only cooperate, he just hit that ball into the crowd. Wow. Right through the end zone and into the first row of the north end zone seats here at the Coliseum. I've never seen that here, Tom. Have you?
Well, especially with a 15-year veteran, for crying out loud. 15-year veteran, and he nailed it.
Never seen Janikowski do that. Olindo Mate on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Raiders have been winning in the preseason. They have won 2 of their first 3. And on Saturday against the 49ers, when the starters were pulled, they were up 24-21. Wound up getting passed by the Niners in the final minutes of the game, 28-24. Tonight they're up 17-13 with half of the second quarter to go. Seattle has outgained the Raiders 185 yards to 109. The Raiders have yet to get the ground game going, only 9 yards rushing. First and 10 Raiders after the Mare touchback. Seahawks want a false start, handoff. Michael Bennett jumps and runs out to around the 23-yard line. Oh, the Seahawks pointing at it. They want a false start on the Raiders there?
Yeah, I think they pointed at the tight end, though, and I guess the tight end had not put his hand down, and he's still able to move.
John Owens, who was a former Seahawk, as we mentioned earlier, played with Seattle last year, began his career in Detroit, a year in Chicago, a year in Cleveland, a year in New Orleans, back to Detroit, last year in Seattle. A big guy, 6'3", 255. Good inline blocker, be a nice third member to the tight end core, along with the pass catchers, Zach Miller and Brandon Myers. 2nd and 7, straight drop, Gradkowski slant. Catch, Johnny Lee Higgins in a run for the first down. Out to the 38-yard line. Beautifully done there by Gradkowski, dropping down sidearm a little bit to fit that ball right into the coverage of the Seahawks to Johnny Lee Higgins for a 15-yard gain, Jim.
Yeah, and Bruce Gradkowski stands in the pocket very well, had a little bit of pressure, but still threw it right on target to Johnny Lee Higgins. You'd like to see Johnny Lee Higgins bounce back a little bit from last year after he got injured. He wasn't quite the same receiver he was the year before.
And he got blasted on opening night by Eric Weddle of the Chargers. Draw play, Michael Bennett drops his shoulder. He is tackled there by Cam Chancellor, a rookie round 5 pick safety of the Seahawks, who weighs 232 pounds. That's some safety.
Yeah, Virginia Tech.
Wow. Bennett picks up 3. 2nd and 7 coming up. Our broadcast of the National Football League tonight is brought to you by Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. For long-lasting comfort, the right choice is Wrangler. Greg Papa, Tom Flores, Jim Plunkett in the booth. On the field, George Atkinson and JT the Brick. 6 minutes to go in the half. Handoff. Michael Bennett coming wide right, turns back inside. He is tackled from the backside by Amon Gordon. His second tackle of the game. Raiders still having a hard time getting the running game going, Tom. But again, it is the backup offensive line that's in there right now, and has been for the entire first half.
Yeah, they just don't. They're not getting much movement, and if you don't get any a little bit of movement up front, then you don't give the back, the crease to run through, to find and run through, and that's what's happening.
Raider offense is really performing well, though, this preseason. We have seen Hugh Jackson now into his 4th game. He is a clever play caller, a good play designer. Drop by Gradkowski, a too-long throw for Johnny Lee Higgins on the crossing route. Raiders will bring in Shane Leckler and punt. Or pardon me, they'll bring in Swayze Waters and punt. I'm so used to Leckler. The Raiders will punt the football away with 5:17 to go in the first half. For those of you watching on television on our simulcast, don't leave us at halftime, as we're going to sit down with King Richard. Richard Seymour will join us coming up at halftime. Had a chance to sit down with Richard Seymour before the game. 5-time Pro Bowler and 3-time Super Bowl champion. Very excited about the prospects of this year. Waters, an end-over-end punt, going to bounce on the 30, roll by. Justin Forsett take a tremendous roll inside the 10 and be dead between the 10 and the 9. So he didn't hit it real well, but he got a nice roll there. And Forsett, who already muffed one earlier, Jim, wanted no part of that one.
Plus, that's why, it's best to catch it if you can in the air so you don't get that kind of roll. But unfortunately, was not able to get to it, and consequently rolled all the way down to the 10-yard line. Good job by Swayze.
Justin Forsett will be the Seahawks' primary punt returner this year. Did a good job for him last year. Should have caught that ball with the roll. That's a 49-yard punt by Swayze Waters. Seahawks are backed up against the infamous black hole end zone here at the Coliseum, the south end zone, on their own 10-yard line. 1st and 10 from there for Charlie Whitehurst. What a great college career he had at Clemson. He's going to send Cameron Moore, the former Cal Bear, in motion left to right. Whitehurst cocks to throw, never does, then runs forward, 2 arms around the ball, and he's covered up there by Thomas Howard. Trying to hit Obamanu on a slant, and the Raiders had that well covered. Jeremy Ware did, so and he had nowhere to go. Jim had run forward for 2.
Overall, Whitehurst has done a very good job. As I said, he has not played, thrown a pass in the regular season in 4 straight years because of Phillip Rivers down in San Diego. But, he's getting his chance to show what he can do.
3rd-round draft pick, number 81 overall, out of Clemson in 06. Toss play to Forsett. Forsett runs over a tackler. Flag comes in very late. Going to be a hold on the Seahawks. It was thrown by the referee himself, Jeff Triplett. Well, this will come back here on the hold. Actually, the umpire who was next to Triplett in the back. Oh, it's on the Raiders? Let's see here. Hold on. What do you got, Jeff?
Illegal use of hands in the face. Number 94 in the defense. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
It's on William Joseph. That was called by the umpire in the offensive backfield, Tom.
Yeah.
And one big debate about doing that is by putting the umpire in the backfield, he's not going to be able to see what the defense is doing illegally.
Yeah, I don't like that move at all, because he's I know that it was dangerous for the umpire when he's right behind in the linebacker location, but he's right in the middle of everything that happens, and right now he's 12 yards deep. I mean, how can he see what's going on right in the battlefront?
Here's Whitehurst play action, looking left, pressured, throws out and incomplete. They got pressure from Kellen Hurd, the rookie free agent defensive tackle from Memphis. But he's actually moved up, Tom. When the preseason game started, he was 17 yards deep. He was behind the referee. Now they moved him up to 12 yards.
Well, then that's going to, the reason, like Peyton Manning had some problems with him in a couple of games last weekend when the teams that have the no-huddle offense have trouble with him getting out of the way.
Yeah. And the reason being, it takes him a while to spot the ball. The umpire has to spot the ball. In the final 5 minutes of tonight's game, they're going to move that umpire from the offensive backfield to where he was last year. Whitehurst rolling out left, going to throw. It is caught there. And Deion Butler with a shifty run, and he's got a 1st down. He stays in bounds to keep the clock rolling. Tackled by Stevie Brown and Quentin Groves. Deion Butler, Jim, a tremendous target for Joe Paterno in Happy Valley, a Penn State Nittany Lion. Didn't play much last year as a rookie, but he's a big guy. He's not listed like he's tall, but he has long arms and a big target.
Not only that, he's got some great feet. He moves well. He shed a couple of tackles for that first score by Seattle earlier in the quarter. He's got a lot going for him. The guy can run.
Only 5'10", but he has real long arms and plays bigger. 13-yard catch and run there. 1st and 10 Seattle on their 36-yard line. Whitehurst a straight drop. Throws the deep one down the right sideline for Butler. Went up and took it away from Chris Johnson, who has been victimized several times tonight. And again, Coach, what a beautiful deep ball Whitehurst throws down the right sideline. Nice catch by Butler going up and taking it right off of Johnson's helmet.
Yeah, well, there's no mystery on any read at all. That was not even a well-thrown ball. That was just a great catch, a great effort by the receiver going up for the ball. Because he was covered fairly well by Chris Johnson, but he makes a great catch. But the Raiders are just playing the same defense. They're not fooling anybody. They line up, tight coverage, play man-to-man. They've been doing it the whole first half.
Now keep in mind they're trying to evaluate these players, so they don't want to get too schemy, and they are going to play Seattle in the regular season here on Halloween. First and 10, 31-yard line. A pre-snap penalty coming in here. Here's Jeff Triplett.
Delay of game, offense, number 6, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Charlie Whitehurst did not get that snapped in time, but you have time to play the official fantasy game of the NFL, the all-new NFL.com Fantasy. Create your own custom league, experience live scoring and exclusive video highlights, all for free and only at NFL.com. We invite you to sign up today. Labor Day weekend, a lot of fantasy leagues will get started this weekend. Here's the handoff to Justin Forsett on the 1st and 15. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning here. Raiders led 17-3 after 1 quarter of play. Seahawks have outscored them 10-0 in the quarter.
The 2-minute
See if
warning.
the Raiders can keep the lead here at halftime. Raiders 17, Seahawks 13. This is the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network.
To the Raiders Broadcasting Network, Oakland 17, Seattle 13. For the first time in its history, the California Lottery is teaming up with the Raiders to put out a fantastic new scratcher ticket. It can give you an opportunity to win up to $20,000 season tickets, luxury suites, tailgate parties, and if you don't win the first time around, there's nothing to worry about. All these tickets can be entered on the lottery replay program. Greg, if I win, I'm splitting the 20 grand with Coach Flores.
Hey, you're on.
Well, you're a bigger man than I. If I win, I'm keeping every cent for myself, JT. Plunk's getting nothing. Whitehurst throws middle, and a catch made there by Golden Tate, tackled immediately by Thomas Howard. That'll bring up a 3rd down here with 1:50 to play. The beautiful thing about the California's lottery game of the scratchers, even when you lose, you win. You have a chance to win prizes, so check that out. Great association the Raiders started last week with the California Lottery. 90 seconds to go in the half. Pete Carroll's not going to burn a timeout here, Tom. Neither will Tom Cable. Both coaches have 3 timeouts remaining. 3rd and 7 coming up for Seattle on the Raider 28-yard line. Raiders up 17-13. Whitehurst in the gun as Forsett to his left. A slot formation left. Butler inside. Obamanu. Golden Tate right. Whitehurst looks left. Throws. Caught. No. Broken up. Right through the hands of Deion Butler. Well covered there again by Jeremy Ware. 4th down for Pete Carroll.
Yeah, Jeremy a little upset. I think he thought he might have had a chance to intercept that ball. He had good position on the break for the ball, and they actually got a piece of it.
Yeah, and the Raiders blitz that time was man across the board, and they did a very good job in covering man-to-man all over the field.
So here's Olindo Mare. He's already made 2 field goals tonight. This is just from the lip of the dirt infield and the grass. Tough spot to put the ball. John Ryan, the punter, will find the dirt 46-yarder. Snap was low. He got it down, and Olindo Mare never misses. Right down the middle from 46. Again, he ended last regular season making his final 21 field goals. He missed only 2 all year. But they both came in the same game against the Chicago Bears. They wound up losing that game, and then Coach Jim Mora went crazy on him and blamed the whole thing on him. And then he wound up making every field goal the rest of the year.
And the coach got fired.
Richard Seymour is going to be our guest coming up at halftime. I sat down with King Richard for an extended conversation, and you'll hear parts of that coming up. What an engaging guy he is. Great player. And he has the presence, Jim, of a great player. When he walks in that locker room, he just has a way about him, a poise and a confidence about him that only great players have.
He certainly does. He's been around. He's been in 3 Super Bowls. He commands a presence about him. But you're absolutely right. He's got that quiet confidence. He's not a big rah-rah guy, but he's there when you need him.
Olindo Mare will kick off. Again, Jacoby Ford is back. If Mare does not hit this in the crowd, this guy's got some distance at age 37. This will be a shorter kick, so Ford will come out far left stays left. Numbers 20, drops ahead, and runs out to the 26-yard line, where the Raiders will go. But they're 1 minute offense here. They have 3 timeouts to use. Walter Thurman on the tackle for Seattle. Tonight's broadcast of the National Football League is brought to you by Big O Tires. It's Big O Tires National Anniversary Sale. Buy a set of 4 select tires and get up to $100 off for a limited time only. See participating stores for details. Raiders up 17-3 after 1 quarter of play, but outscored 13-0 in this quarter. Now they start from their 25-yard line. Moving left to right, north to south. Gradkowski back, throws. It is right through the hands and dropped of Yaman Figures.
Oh, boy.
He had it at midfield, and that ball almost was deflected where it could have been intercepted.
Yeah, that ball was a perfectly thrown ball. It hit him right in the hands. He made a nice cut to the middle of the field, and he had running room. You know, it would have been fun to watch him because he had running room with his speed. But catch the ball first, young man.
I second that, Coach.
Yeah, he's a good catcher. He had 43 catches in 08 with Baltimore. He had 36 catches his rookie year. Last year split time between Detroit and Tampa Bay. Gradkowski back, throws middle, catch made by Rock Cartwright. Taiwan Hagler, the former Indianapolis Colt, makes the tackle on Cartwright. Clock will keep rolling here. The Raiders do have 3 timeouts left, but facing a 3rd down, they're not going to burn one here and see what they do. 3rd down and 3. Clock rolling though, 35 seconds to go. Now Gradkowski back in the gun, slot right, Figures and Jacoby Ford. Sean Boniford, and the throw goes out left to Brandon Myers. He is hit hard there by the big safety Cam Chancellor, and now it's 4th down. With 26 seconds to go, the Seahawks will get the football back.
I don't think neither team seems to be interested in using their timeouts. I think they just want this half to end. Probably want this game to end pretty quick too.
That's right. You know, they want to avoid injuries at all costs, but you know it's part of the game as well.
Justin Forsett back to return this punt of Swayze Waters. Raiders have been quick starters in the last 3 preseason games. Played very well the first quarter, but have not been able to sustain it in the second quarter. Justin Forsett takes the short punt, runs by the tackle of John Kondo, the long snapper, and then he's dropped by Sam Williams and Jerome Boyd on the Seattle 30-yard line. So 17 seconds to go. Charlie Whitehurst will probably not play in the second half. We will see one-time Raider J.P. Lossman in the second half. I mean one time. I mean one play. He played last year in Denver. Remember that?
Yes.
He'll probably quarterback Seattle in the second half. So they may let Whitehurst throw a deep one here, Coach. Let's see what they do.
But you talk about Lossman, you know, that's probably the only play he knew as well, that one play, having just arrived.
And Jamarcus came in on 4th down and converted, and the Raiders wound up winning a wild game in Denver. They won last year in Denver and in Kansas City late. Whitehurst back. He's going to throw a deep ball down the right sideline. He overthrew Golden Tate. That'll stop the clock with 11 seconds to go. The Raiders that time, Chris Johnson, the initial coverage, safety help over the top from Mike Mitchell, and they had the rookie well covered, Jim.
Yes, they did. That time they weren't going to let anybody get behind him. He had good coverage all the way, expecting maybe something like that to happen, and it was well cared for that time.
And even though it's there's only 11 seconds to go, they're still playing man-to-man. They're still pressing a little bit on the odd side.
Now Chris Johnson's playing a little looser on his side. Here's Whitehurst back. Throws out left. Wide open catch. Deion Butler out of bounds. Stops the clock on the Raider 45-yard line. He's out with 5 seconds to go. Lindo Murray has a very strong leg, but this would be like 62 yards away. And he's not quite that strong at age 37. 15 yards on the outcut. So they're going to let Whitehurst throw one deep into the end zone here and see what they got. Seahawks will bring in Golden Tate and Obamanu. Fast and a tall wide receiver. They take out Ruvell Martin and Brandon Jones, who was cut by the Niners earlier this preseason. Seattle goes with 3 wide receivers to the right. Morrow, the tight end in that mix with Butler and Obamanu going out left. Whitehurst steps up in the pocket, going to heave a high one into the end zone, a jump ball, and it is a battle. Mike Mitchell's there. It is caught for a touchdown by Seattle. It is Cameron Mora. Flag is down, though. Flag is down back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense, number 66. That foul is on the offense on the last play of the half. Therefore, the half is over.
Wow, Mansfield Roto playing at left tackle for the injured rookie Russell Okung is called for a hold, but Cameron Mora, coach, went up and just took it away from Mike Mitchell on the Hail Mary.
Well, that's interesting because there was nobody outside of Mike Mitchell. There were two white shirts that weren't even covered on the outside.
Yeah, they were outnumbered on that side of the field.
Yeah, they were way
sure.
outnumbered. And that's where the three guys were. So that was just a lapse of memory or of defense there.
All right, so the Raiders get out of there with a halftime lead of a single point. Raiders 17, Seahawks 16. Richard Seymour coming your way on TV. Hey, Martinez will come your way on radio at halftime. This is the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network. TV simulcast from the Oakland Coliseum. Raiders get out of halftime with a 1-point lead. Greg Papa rejoined by Jim Plunkett and head coach Tom Flores. We'll start with the good. The play in the first quarter was very good. The Raiders went deep down the field a couple of times for a touchdown, a field goal. Later got a muff punt to score a touchdown and led 17-3 after one quarter.
Well, Bay made a nice catch going up in the air for the ball, and they spread the ball around. The protection was good. Everything was good. They had the advantage of a nice screen pass. Excellent execution on the screen pass for a touchdown.
Manasseh Tonga beautifully executed there on the screen. Then Justin Forsett with the muff. And the Raiders took over on the 16-yard line and got into the end zone for a second time. As Bruce Gradkowski with nice time will find Johnny Lee Higgins. Raiders gave up some big plays in the second quarter, and Seattle got back into the game. And Seattle wound up outgaining the Raiders 262 yards to 138 total. Raiders could not get the running game going at all in that first half. They passed the ball well, but 12 carries, just 16 yards. The Raiders will get the ball first to begin the second half. We invite you to visit CompassMediaNetworks.com/sports to enter a chance to win $10,000 from Yellow Book 360. If a Raider returns an opening kickoff for a touchdown, see website for rules and details. Olindo Mate will kick off, and it will be Jacoby Ford, who will not have a chance to return that kickoff. It is a touchback out the back of the end zone. We head downstairs and join JT the Brick and the coach of the Raiders.
Back with Coach Cable. Coach, talk about another opening drive to start the game and a score.
Well, I thought it was a real positive. You know, we're struggling, though, after that initial opening drive. Really on both sides of the ball was good, but we haven't got off the field on third down defensively. Not much of a pass rush, and we're giving up some big plays. And then offensively, we've got to run the football better than what we're doing right now. If we can do those two things here, we'll be fine.
Coach, good luck against Tennessee. Thank you. Coach Tom Cable. Greg?
All right, Gradkowski quarterback the first half. Kyle Bowler will get the second half. JT and Coach, the Raiders would like to get the ground game going here. Now, again, it's not the first team offensive line. Michael Bennett has the first carry of the second half as Kyle Bowler takes over for Gradkowski. But Michael Bennett had 10 carries in the first half and only had 14 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's a pretty anemic rushing total, and but their rushing game hasn't been that impressive the entire preseason. You know, the passing game has improved, but the rushing game still needs some work.
2nd and 7. Kyle Bowler to play action to Bennett. Rolls right into pressure of Dexter Davis, and Manasseh Tonga, the fullback, flat drops the football. He was well covered there, and Bowler rolled right into the pressure of what they call the Leo position on their defense, kind of a hybrid defensive end/linebacker, and Dexter Davis was there. Kyle Bowler played very well late to beat Dallas, Jim, in the first preseason game. Played well in Chicago as well. Did not play at all Saturday night in the last preseason game against the 49ers.
And just like that last play, he got rid of the ball quickly with a lot of pressure. He got it accurately to Manasseh, but just couldn't hold on to it.
3rd and 7. Bowler looking left, now going to run right in the middle, and he takes a hit from Tywan Hagler, and he's short of the first down, I believe. Well, he didn't slide. He went headlong.
No, he was going for the first down. He saw the sticks. He was going for the down. I think he felt he could make it, but he ran out of room.
You know, and as a quarterback, you have to know how far those sticks are. And as he took off to run, you know, you're about 7 yards to 8-9 yards deep in the backfield. So when you take off, you've got about 16, 17 yards to pick up that first down. That's a long way for a quarterback.
Golden Tate checking out the wind patterns here tonight. Not much of a wind. And a 76-degree evening. Many nights and days it'll swirl a lot more. It's a good punt taken by Golden Tate on the 22-yard line. Starts right, turned back inside by John Kondo. Finds a crack, though, and comes straight up the field for about 8 yards. Nice return there by the elusive former Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Well, he was an explosive player for Charlie Weiss last year. Jerome Boyd finally dropped him. Grayson Gunheim is slow to get off the field. Young defensive end from the University of Washington, by the way of Sebastopol. Got hurt covering the punt there, and looks like he's got a leg problem.
You know, it's amazing, Pop, all the players that are out there on the field right now. So many of them local kids, local backgrounds, either from here originally or went to school around here. California, Northern California puts out a lot of really fine football players.
Well, here's J.P. Lossman, who grew up down in Southern California, went to Tulane University, was a #1 draft pick of the Buffalo Bills in 2004, 5 years with the Bills, made 33 starts in 06, had a very good year. And last year could not get a job in the league, wound up playing in the new United Football League, led the Las Vegas Locomotives and head coach Jim Fossil to the championship of that league, Jim. And coach, as you know, the Raiders wound up signing him after that year. And he got into a Raider game ever so briefly last year.
Yeah, got in for one play. Yeah.
But I just can't imagine a football team in Las Vegas. I'm sorry.
It sounds like a good thing to me.
Yeah, I guess it would.
Sign me up for that duty. I think JT the Brick was the voice of the Las Vegas team in the XFL way back when. Well, the Seahawks will go 1st and 10 here. 13:35 to go third quarter. We are so excited about the new year. We invite you to come out every Sunday. The Raiders are home starting on September the 19th against the St. Louis Rams. 1-800-RAIDERS. Raiders.com to get your tickets tonight, tomorrow, anytime you like. Pick up the phone or get online and make your plans to be with us. St. Louis Rams will be the opening game here at home. The Houston Texans will be in on October the 3rd. The one we're all looking forward to, Tom, is the San Diego Chargers will be in on October the 10th. A lot of work for these coaches and players coming up. By Saturday at 1 o'clock our time, 1 o'clock Pacific time, 22 players have to be trimmed off this roster to get ready for the new year. Toss plays, we finally resume. Here's Louis Rankin, former Raider from a couple of years ago. And he comes up the middle and picks up only 2 or 3 yards. Louis Rankin, of course, had a tremendous college career up in Seattle, playing for the University of Washington Huskies.
Yeah, a good guy, too. And he really had a pretty good preseason here. I'm not sure what it was last year or the year before, but he had a real good preseason.
Last couple years.
Yeah.
He was a Raider, a rookie free agent signing in May of 2008 after rushing for over 2,400 yards for UW out of Lincoln High School in Stockton. 2nd and 6. Rankin in an offset eye. Owen Schmidt, the fullback from West Virginia. And Chris Cooper just jumped off sides there. Cameron Moore will move, though. False start called on the Seahawks. Tyler Columbus, the offensive lineman. They just made a trade to get Columbus from the Detroit Lions, giving up a conditional draft pick in 2012 to get him. They've had profound injuries on their offensive line. We mentioned the loss of number 6 overall pick Russell Okun, who was out with a high ankle sprain. 2nd and 6 now. Pardon me, 2nd and 12 now for Seattle. That was a 6-yard penalty. Lossman back, throws out left, catch made by Brandon Jones, tackled immediately by Jeremy Ware, who lifted him right off the ground and drove him into the dirt. He covers well, and he's a tough hitter as well.
You know, man coverage down there, as Coach Flores points out, they're still continuing to play man, but well covered, short gain, but at least it cuts the third down yardage in half.
Boy, Jeremy Ware, Tom, you got Walter McFadden, you got Stevie Brown. These are 5th-round pick, a couple of 7th-round picks in the secondary. Raiders scouting department did a nice job finding these guys late. J.P. Lossman throws right through the hands of Brandon Jones, and a drop. And the Raiders will bring in, will force the Seahawks to punt the football. Hiram Eugene, the deep safety, was lurking there. Brandon Jones had a good career with the Tennessee Titans. Niners gave him a 5-year, $16.5 million contract. He hardly played for them at all. Last year, Tom got hurt, and they wound up cutting him this year.
Yeah. Well, when the Raiders, when the coaches said they were going to play vanilla, they're playing vanilla, man-to-man coverage across the board. Every single play. I don't know that I've seen a zone at all tonight.
Here's the punt by John Ryan. Off the shoulder pad of Yaman Figures. Goes back inside the 10 to pick it up, which he does. Breaks one tackle, and now he is swarmed and dropped back on the 7-yard line. He has had a ball handling problem on punts. A flag is also down on the return. One of the officials took his helmet off, which means one of the players left the playing field. Figures also dropped a ball earlier tonight on an in-cut, which could have been a big catch and run. So he's had a ball security issue.
Are the officials wearing helmets now?
Did I say he took his helmet off?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking the
umpire. Maybe they are. Maybe the umpire put
the
one off.
umpire's got to go back to where
put
he
him
was.
back in there.
It's the soft helmet. And one of the officials took his hat off.
Okay.
Took his lid off, and he's left it off. That means one of these Seattle players ran out of bounds here. We'll see if they did it illegally or not. Jeff Triplett.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Receiving team. Number 28 went out of bounds to block member of the kicking team. After this is the goal. First down.
So did that player run out of bounds for Seattle? Why would the Raider go out of bounds to block him?
Well, you're allowed.
He was told to block him and not let him down the field.
Just block somebody on the bench.
You're supposed to.
Raiders Broadcasting Network. Block anybody, would you? Jim Plunkett, Tom Flores in the booth. George Atkinson on the field with Rolando McClain.
Yes, I am the Raiders' #1 draft pick. Now, coming out of college, right into the pros as a starter. Tell me about the transition.
Actually, the transition wasn't that hard. Playing for Coach Saban, he's a great coach. He got me prepared for what I'm about to face in this upcoming season. The thing that I had to, that was the biggest difference, was just to learn a 4-3 defense. I was accustomed to playing in 3-4 for the past 3 years, and now I'm playing in 4-3. So it's not that much of a difference, but that was the only thing that I had to adjust to.
Michael Bennett takes it right up the middle, Rolando, and picks up about 5. So you've got 2 great D tackles sitting right in front of you, Richard Seymour and Tommy Kelly. Are they keeping everybody off of you so you can roam sideline to sideline?
Yes, they are. It's a pleasure playing behind those 2 guys. You got a Hall of Fame guy and Richard Seymour, and then you got Tommy Kelly. I'm sure he'll be there soon too. But as a young linebacker, being able to play behind them, it just feels great. They keep me free. I'm able to run and make plays.
Nice block by Tonga, the fullback, and that's the best Raider run of the night as they get Michael Bennett out wide, Tom. Beautifully done there, and the Raiders have a first down rolling out across the 20-yard line.
Yeah, nice and solid blocking all the way along. A good lead block, and Michael Bennett using his eyes and seeing the opening and bouncing it to the outside.
And you don't think Coach Tom Cable at halftime said we got to get this running game generating a little bit more offense as well. And, they're coming up fired up, blocking, putting hats on the defenders and making room for the running backs.
Got to run the ball, and you got to stop the run in this league. Here's a deep one by Kyle Bowler. Wide open, Jacoby Ford.
They run.
20, 15. He is pulled down from behind as he had to go back and catch the ball. So Cam Chancellor ran him down. A little bit of the deep throwing arm of Kyle Bowler, Jim, and the speed of Jacoby Ford.
They said Kyle Bowler has the strongest arm in camp, and he certainly showed it there. Jacoby Ford down the sidelines. He happened to be wide open. Couldn't really tell what the defense was, whether it was a mistake or he just beat somebody. It looks like a mistake being that wide open, but big play by the Raiders that time.
A little deeper throw there, and Ford would have scored. He had to wait for the ball to arrive. 62 yards, though. They run Bennett up the middle. A flag is down. The Raiders are going to be called for a hold here, and that'll drop him back 10 yards. Rolando, we talked earlier before that play. You got to run the ball, and you got to stop the run. And overall, you guys have done a decent job this year. Here's Triplett's call.
Holding offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Bruce Campbell, the rookie. But a couple of big runs in Chicago to Matt Forte. Frank Gore had one last week. When you went back and looked at it on film, why were you guys giving up a big run here and there so far?
It's just the little things we have to do. And the defense, everybody just has to do what they have to do. You can't try to be a superhero and get out of place just to make a play. If the defense takes care of itself, if everybody does their one job, then we'll be fine. And with those big runs, somebody try to do some extra. But the good thing about it is everything that went wrong in those runs are correctable. Small things, something we can work on in practice and correct and get ready for a game.
Raiders draw Michael Bennett up the middle on a 1st and 20, and you're going to get challenged right away. Tell me about your thoughts. 10 days from now, you're going to play in an NFL game. Vince Young is going to be the quarterback, one of the great running quarterbacks in the league. You got Chris Johnson with 2,000 yards. Tell me about what you're thinking about in that opening.
I don't know. I'm really not even giving it much thought right now. I was working on Seattle, even though I didn't get to play. But when the time comes, I'll be ready for that game starting next week.
There's a touchdown to Nick Miller, Rolando. Beautifully done by Kyle Bowler as he hits Nick Miller for a touchdown, beating the rookie Walter Thurman. A couple of deep throws down the right sideline, Jim. The big one to Jacoby Ford, and now Nick Miller from Bowler for the second time this preseason.
You know, it's a fade route, man-to-man coverage. Bowler puts it right in the corner, perfectly thrown to Nick Miller. And as I said, I really like Nick Miller and what he brings to the table.
He had the big catch in Dallas, Tom, at the end of the game to get the Raiders a victory, a tough catch. And this is 2 preseasons in a row. He's been very impressive.
Well, every time he plays, all he does is make plays. And, you know, I know that he's one of those guys that's probably on the bubble, but it's be hard to get rid of him.
Swayze Waters on the point after Kyle Bowler. He's ecstatic after hitting Nick Miller. 62 yards to 4. Now the touchdown to Miller. 24-16 Raiders on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Bowler and Nick Miller connect for the last 6 yards of a 96-yard touchdown drive. Remember, Figures dropped the kickoff. They had some adversity. 62-yarder to Jacoby Ford. Nice ball there, Jim, right to Miller where he could extend and go out and get it.
Right on the money. And, you know, an excellent catch by Nick Miller, and a real fine throw by Bowler. I mean, that's what you have to do. You know, as you mentioned, you face adversity, you've got to find a way to overcome it. That's what makes a good team.
For the Raiders, coach, are real deep at quarterback. Jason Campbell's played real well. Bruce Gradkowski has played outstanding. Whenever Kyle Bowler's been in, he's been very good.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. He throws a nice ball, and he throws a nice deep ball. And he's got the size to do it because he stands tall in the pocket.
Now the big hit by the Raiders. Jerome Boyd loads up Cord Parks on the kickoff return for Seattle. They'll start their next drive on their 33-yard line. When we come back, Raiders 24, Seahawks 16 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Welcome back to our Oakland Raiders radio and TV simulcast. Our broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Wrangler 5-Star Premium Denim Jeans. For long-lasting comfort, the right choice is Wrangler. 24-16 Raiders over the Seattle Seahawks, meeting their former AFC West rivals. Seahawks came into the NFL in '76 and then relocated into the AFC West in '77, where they were for many years until the league realigned in '02. There's a handoff to Lewis Rankin up the middle, a former Raider, and the Raiders swarm him. Sam Williams, Kellen Hurd are all there to jump on Rankin. He picks up a couple, though, for maybe out to the 37-yard line. 8:45 to play in this third quarter. Raiders trying to go to 3-1 of the preseason. 1-800-RAIDERS, Raiders.com is the phone numbers and web address to be a part of the Raiders this season. Hand off to Lewis Rankin coming right, and the Raiders stack that up beautifully. Swarm all over it. Mike Mitchell, who started the game at deep safety, getting some playing time here in the third quarter. Well, these guys playing right now, Tom, are battling for roster spots. Mitchell obviously is going to make the team after being a second-round draft pick out of Ohio. But a mass cut. NFL used to stagger the cuts more evenly, and now they just trimmed 5 from 80 this past Tuesday, and I got a whopping cut of 22 coming up by Saturday at 1. That's a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that's a lot, yeah.
Third down and 8. Out of the gun is J.P. Lossman, looking to his left. Now hit and dropped. He is sacked, and maybe a face mask. Chris Cooper got him, but Jeff Triplett's going to say he grabbed his face mask. It'll be a personal foul at 15 yards.
Personal foul. Referee the pass search. Yeah. Number 79 of 78 of the defense. Blow to the head.
Yeah, I don't think
15 yards. First down.
I was going to say, I don't think he grabbed the face mask, but I think he got him across the side of the head, and that's just as bad. Can't do that. You really got him. You know, that was like a clothesline.
Yeah. But he didn't grab the face mask. He clotheslined the face mask.
Yeah, he closed it. Yeah.
But you know, you're running full speed. You know, he reaches out. That's the only thing he could do to get a piece of him.
Wait a minute. Who are you sticking up for, the quarterback or the defense?
Hey, quarterbacks have it pretty easy compared to when we played, I guarantee you.
That's true.
First and 10 at Seattle on their 42. Deion Butler goes in motion. Lossman a play action. Throws middle. Catch made by Deion Butler. Slips the tackle to Sam Williams and dropped at midfield on the Seattle 49-yard line. Tackle ultimately made by Slade Norris, the second-year linebacker out of Oregon State. He had a tremendous game at Soldier Field a couple of weeks ago where he recovered a muff punt of the end zone for a touchdown and later blocked a punt through the back of the end zone for 2 points. A safety. He had 8 points that game.
You know, and that's special teams for you. You know, you perform well there, you might have a spot on the team.
2nd and 3. Butler is wide right, goes in short motion. Lossman a play action, get a screen out to Deion Butler. Clever play, but not being fooled at all as the Raiders secondary and Joe Porter. He came flying up and stuffed that in the backfield for a big loss. Butler was the move man the whole way, Tom, and it was a screen to him out in the right flat. But Brown read it, or Porter read it beautifully.
Yeah, pretty. The screen, the timing was way off because there was nobody out there to block him. Usually you have to have at least 1 or 2 personal protectors out there to lead the ball carrier, but he was ahead of the blockers.
And one of the few times they went zone, so he was able to look in the backfield and pick out the screen man that time.
Joe Porter was also on those Las Vegas Locomotives that won the UFL championship last year when Lossman was the quarterback, looking left, throwing left. It's a ground ball. A flag comes in, though. There was a ground ball to Deion Butler, but there may be a flag there on Stevie Brown. See what the officials got.
Well, if this is on the Raiders, then they're keeping the drives alive with the penalties.
It's a hold. Which way are they going with the holding call? Jeff Triplett.
2 fouls on the play. Use the hands. Hands to the face. Number 67 of the defense. Pass interference. Offense. Number 11. Those penalties by rule all set. Repeat, 3rd down.
Oh.
Now it turns out well for Seattle. Kellen Hurd is the Raiders 67, and they get the rare offensive passive interference on Deion Butler as he pushed off.
Yeah, he must have pushed off right at the last part of his release.
So the Seahawks get a break, though, and they get 3rd down over again. 3rd down and 8, Seattle from their own 44-yard line. The Seahawks are going to open the new year at home against the 49ers, then go to Denver and play home to San Diego. So early into AFC West play they are. There's Lossman, a throw out left, right through the hand, over the top of the helmet of Jeremy Ware after Deion Butler slipped down. A good coverage there by Jeremy Ware, who continues to make plays on defense.
Well, that time the Raider defense came with a blitz, and there were some black shirts that were coming clean, and he had to get rid of the ball quickly. He couldn't hold it any longer.
John Ryan into punt again for Seattle, and Nick Miller is back to return this punt. 5:50 to play, 3rd quarter. Raiders did not start any of their first team on offense or defense with the exception of a couple of players. Lamar Houston, Trevor Scott on defense. Scott played the D line, interestingly, not inside linebacker. Nick Miller breaks 1 tackle on the punt and does not break the second. He is dropped on the 12-yard line by the deep snapper there, Clint Gresham, in on the tackle for Seattle. 5.5 to go, 3rd quarter. Raiders 24, Seahawks 16. This is the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Nobody worked harder this offseason than young Darius Hayward-Bay. Got heavily into the weight room, put on about 15 pounds. Got out on the field to run his routes tighter, worked on his hands. Balls were thrown to him constantly, worked on the jugs gun. This guy really worked hard in the offseason, Tom, and I think we're seeing it. He looks like a vastly improved player this year.
Well, he's running his routes with some strength and some real finesse coming out of his breaks with power too.
There's a draw to Cartwright off the left side. Rock rolls out across the 15 up to around the 17, gaining 4. 2nd and 6. Now the Raiders are going to rely heavily on these 2 young receivers. Jim Lewis-Murphy had a tremendous rookie year last year, made some huge plays. And Darius Hayward-Bay was beginning to make progress last year. Then he got hurt his foot in Dallas and missed the final 5 games of the year. But, well, he worked hard in the offseason. He is poised to have a very good sophomore year. 2nd and 6, Kyle Bowler in the gun. He has Cartwright to his right. 3 receivers left, inside handoff to Cartwright out of the shotgun. And he picks up 3 out across the 20 up to around the 21-yard line. 3rd and 3 coming up for the Raiders. Raiders started their backup offensive line, and these guys are playing the entire game. Chris Morris is now in at center, replacing Samson Satelli, who started the game. Khalif Barnes has played the whole game, and left tackle. Daniel Loper's played the whole game at left guard. Bruce Campbell's played the whole game at right guard. And Eric Pierce has played the entire game at right tackle. 3rd and 4. Boulder out of the gun. 4-man pressure time. Throws middle. Catch. Cartwright first down. Breaks a tackle and rolls out to the Raider 31-yard line. Tackled there by Cam Chancellor, the safety. Dark Cartwright, he's going to help you on special teams, Jim. He also can catch the football out of the backfield.
Yes, he can. You know, he's a very fine runner. He's very dedicated. He knows his assignments. Doesn't make many mistakes out there, and that's the kind of guy you're looking for, especially in the backup role.
11-yard catch and run. He was able to run through the tackle there of Tywan Hagler, who's had a superb preseason for the Seahawks, the former Indianapolis Colt. 1st and 10, Raiders on their 31. We have less than 4 minutes to play 3rd quarter. Raiders up 24-16. Bowler draw, Cartwright, and nothing there. And picks up only a few yards. That'll bring up a 2nd down and about 10.
When you go back to Bowler, you know, he's struggled a little bit in the last couple of years. Released from the Ravens, struggled at St. Louis. But, you know, right now, you know, he's showing what he can do, and he's handling this offense very, very well.
He's a smart guy, playing for Coach Tedford, a tremendous senior year in Berkeley. Glad to be back home. Luke Lawton get a flex out wide left. There's Boulder back, throwing a check down to Cartwright. Makes Hagler miss, runs for a first down, gets a block to midfield. Seattle 40, now he dives down to the Seahawk 42-yard line. Beautifully done there by the Raiders. Rock Cartwright on the check down over the middle. Tom, he got a block from an offensive lineman downfield, and he pops that one for a nice catch and run.
Well, what he did, you know, he's a well put together guy. He's only 5'8", but he weighs 213 pounds. He's built very, very stocky with some power, and with that power, he's got the quickness to break tackles. You're not going to bring him down with just one arm.
And that was Brandon Myers, the tight end, who got downfield to make the block. 27 yards on the pickup. Draw to Cartwright, breaks a tackle and rolls out to the 35-yard line of Seattle. So it's taken a while, Jim, but now the Raider running game behind the second-team offensive line is beginning to run the football.
Well, and game's been going on a little while. On defense, you get a little tired. The offense starts to click a little bit offensively, and sometimes, you know, they just don't have the strength to bring these runners down. The runner's relatively fresh. He hasn't played the whole game, and he's making the most of it.
Let's keep an eye on Bruce Campbell now playing at right guard. A 4th-round draft pick out of Maryland. Bowler looked for a slant route or an outcut on the right side. It was not there, and he tucked it and ran. And flag came in at the end of the play here. And Bowler also close to a first down to the 2nd and 3.
Holding, 51 of the offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Chris Morris now playing at center for the Raiders. Right next to Bruce Campbell, who the Raiders got in the 4th round. He was a left tackle at College Park, University of Maryland, and the Raiders have converted him to a right guard.
They did a nice job. Campbell did a nice job in coming off. They started off with a scoop block, and he scooped and came right off on the linebacker. But unfortunately, there was holding on the play, and the whole play goes for naught.
Raiders back on Seattle's 46, 2nd and 13. A draw to Michael Bennett, twisting and turning and tackle breaking. He rolls all the way out near midfield. Dropped on the Seahawk 33-yard line. I think he's just a little bit short of the first down. It'll be a 3rd down and 1 coming up for the Raiders. Nice call there, a little draw there in a 2nd and 13, coach, to pick up a dozen.
Yeah, they're keeping the ball on the ground. They've got Seattle moving backwards a little bit. You know, the offensive line is geared up. They're coming off the ball. The defense is probably getting a little tired, and they're taking advantage of it.
Seattle had 12 guys on the field. They run off one late, 3rd and 1. Bennett first down, 25. First down, Raiders. Banging all the way down to the Seattle 24-yard line. This ground game really coming alive. And again, this offensive line, Jim's played the entire game.
Yeah, they certainly have. They're really starting to seem to be clicking right now. But, you know, one thing about the defense, you know, they've been out there just as long, kind of. But one of the things they have to do, they've got to hit, engage, and then they've got to chase the runner or the receiver down the field. So that's why they tend to get tired on long drives.
One last snap here before the end of the 3rd quarter. Play clock at 10 and the quarter clock at 20. 1st and 10, Raiders on the Seahawk 25. Draw to Cartwright coming left, and he picks up 2. Dropped on the 23-yard line. 10 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Plenty of time for you to Drop by your local store to pick up New Amsterdam Gin and find out how to get discounted Raider tickets from New Amsterdam Gin. That'll be the end of the third quarter. Raiders with a touchdown in the quarter. They pass to Nick Miller, now lead by 8 after 3. 24-16 over Seattle on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.
Back on the Raiders Broadcasting Network, JT with Nnamdi Asomugha. Another preseason comes to an end. Talk about the momentum going into the Tennessee game.
Well, there's a lot of momentum right now. The first 2 games were really good for us. The last game is the game that it didn't set us back, but it was good for us. It was good for us to see how we would respond to it. So if we can get a win today, that'll be good for us going into Tennessee.
Greg?
All right, hold called on Eric Pierce. Will drop the Raiders back 10. Nam, I get the feeling, talking to you and being around you, that you are as excited about your prospects with this team as you've ever been in your career. Why?
We just, I mean, there's new blood here, you know, whether it's with the players or the coaches. The guys that we've brought in, they've come from winning programs, whether it was in college or the other team that they were on, and people want to show what we can do, you know, and we've shown it in practice, we've shown it in the preseason, and it looks good.
2nd and 18, Boulder throws little high as he tried to hit Jacoby Ford. And that skinny post there, a little high, incomplete. You make a good point, because Rolando McClain and Lamar Houston played in the BCS National Championship game last year. So these guys, they're rookies, but they've been doing some winning. Is that kind of carried over into your locker room this year?
Yeah, absolutely. And with those players that you named, especially because when you have rookies that can come in and they can play, you know they came from a good program in college. And these guys are knowledgeable. They know the plays. They understand their positions, and it helps. And then you bring in a guy like Hugh Jackson to run the offense that has had success with NFL offenses.
Sean Bonifer to the catch and run, and they could have a Raider first down to the 16-yard line. Nicely done there on a 3rd and 18. You know, in Dallas, when we first visited with you during the first preseason game, I asked you to assess the young Raiders secondary. And now watching them for 4 games, Jeremy Ware, Walter McFadden, Stevie Brown, these guys can all play.
They can all play, and you know, unfortunately, Walter got hurt today, so he hasn't been able to go back in. But number 23, Jeremy Ware, has played without fear today. He's been out there making plays and doing a great job. And Steve Brown makes a play every time we go on the field in games. So we say he's living right, or he's doing something right, because he always seems to make a play. But all 3 of them have done well for us.
The Raiders did not get the first down of the pass to Bonifer. It was 4th and 1, and then Kyle Bowler snuck for the first down. You know, with everybody in the NFL going to 3 wide receiver sets, you're going to be out there with Chris Johnson and with Stanford Route, because you need all 3 out there. But what I want to know is who's going to take the slot guy. Let me call this first down play, and we'll let you answer that. First down handoff, Rock Cartwright swerving off the right side, going to spin down to the 9-yard line. He got 5. So when the other team goes 3 wide, somebody's got to jump in the slot. Stanford's had that role in the past. Will you jump in there sometimes now?
Yeah, you know, I don't know if it'll be much more than it was. It'll be more than it was last year, but the year before last, I think in 2008, I got a lot of time in there at the slot. Every year I've had some time in at the slot, but this year I think we're going to be able to mix it up a lot more, to have me in there, have Stanford in there. If Jeremy Ware comes on and does a good job for us, he'll be in there. So we can all pretty much go in and out whenever we want.
There's Rock Cartwright getting spilled after a loss. Maybe a yard he picked up, not much there. Nam, your time is now. You've waited a long time to win in this league. I think you're finally going to be on a winner, so good luck to you this year.
I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
Nnamdi Asomugha, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro cornerback. Well, they got some good leaders on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, they got a good locker room.
Yeah,
they have a good locker room now. You know, you get guys like Nnamdi, who's grown up. Now he's a veteran back there with that defensive backfield. Seymour comes in, and all of a sudden he's got a tremendous influence, especially on Tommy Kelly, who plays right next to him. The rest of the group, they're all just growing up and showing some leadership. Offensively, you've got the same thing going on over there with Gallery being in a 7th year, and it's nice to see.
Timeout called by the Raiders. They'll face a 3rd and 7 on the Seattle 11 when we come back. 24-16 Raiders on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Football's fabulous females are having a good time tonight. The Raiders playing so well, and the 2011 Raiderette swimsuit calendar is on sale now at Raiders.com. And get your Raiderette calendar for 2011 at Raiders.com. Raiders outgained the Seattle Seahawks in the 3rd quarter, 178 yards to nothing. 3rd and 7 Raiders on the Seattle 11 here, early 4th quarter. Bowler looks middle, throws right through the hands of Brandon Myers on the goal line. Incomplete. And the Raiders will bring in Swayze Waters for a field goal.
And this is one of the first times probably in a long time that the Raiders did not have to use their starters in their 4th and final game, letting them rest, keeping them healthy, and letting the 2nd and 3rd team guys get in there and get a lot of playing time in case they have to fill in somewhere down the road.
Raiders just 2 for 8 on 3rd downs tonight. They were 0 for 5 in the first half. So they moved the ball well, Tom, but they could have moved it even better. They were able to convert on 3rd.
That should have been a touchdown. Brandon Myers ran a nice route and got open. The ball was really fired hard. It was a little high, but you've got to catch that. Tight ends have to catch those kind of balls, especially down there in the red zone.
29-yard field goal from Swayze Waters. Good snap by Kondo, the hold by Leckler, and Swayze is perfect. He has handled all the placements and kickoffs tonight. Janikowski, after a 57-yard field goal last week, not kicking tonight. Raiders up 27-16. This is the Raiders Broadcasting Network. The Tribune building in downtown Oakland, and you can read all about it tomorrow morning in the Bay Area News Group. Oakland Tribune covering the Raiders for 5+ decades. 27-16, the Raiders lead, a 75-yard drive. The Raiders finished off there with a field goal from Swayze Waters. Could not quite get in the end zone, and Swayze will kick off here. Our broadcast of the NFL is brought to you by Big O Tires. It's Big O Tires National Anniversary Sale. Buy a set of 4 select tires and get up to $100 off for limited time only. See participating stores for details. Waters kickoff taken at the goal line. This is Louis Rankin, who can run 35-40 by Waters, midfield, 40, Raider 30, 20, 10. They won't get him. Louis Rankin takes it the whole way back. The former Raider with a touchdown here, 99 yards on the kickoff return to make it 27-22.
Well, that's one area that they got to improve, because that's 2 weeks in a row they brought it to the house on a special team, and that's inexcusable. You've got a bunch of guys that are trying to fight for their lives on these special teams, and they're running down totally out of control.
The only guy who had a shot at him, Jim, was the kicker. Waters tried to grab him around the shoulder, but Rankin's so big and strong and moving so fast, just ran right through that.
Kicker kind of like a quarterback, had a little tough time.
But it's tough when you're putting the special teams together when you don't know who's playing. At a game like this, talking to John Fossil before the game, Seattle's going to go for 2 here to make it a 3-point game. I think they just want to work on 2. In the regular season, you'd probably do that to make it 27-24. But the point John Fossil was making earlier is all these guys that are playing on teams, your starters don't play, and they're not going to play on special teams. Right. The guys that are playing from scrimmage also have to play on special teams. They don't get many plays off in a game like this.
Yeah, plus they don't have a lot of reps during the week, during the preseason or during practice, and so it's hard for them to have some continuity there.
They're flying bodies in. It's a tough game, that 4th preseason game, to get your teams aligned. Inside fake. There's Lossman rolling and throwing, and it's caught. To complete the 2-point conversion is Ruvel Martinet, the former Green Bay Packer for 4 years, and last year played for the St. Louis Rams. So the Seahawks explode for 8 in a blink of an eye. 99-yard kickoff return. They get the 2-point conversion. The Raider lead is down to 3, 27-24 on the Raiders Broadcasting Network. Well, Jim, technically, the Seahawks still have how many yards in the second half?
0.
0 yards. Well, they just had a 99-yard kickoff return for a score that is not counting the yards from scrimmage. The hidden yardage, Louis Rankin uncovered that for the whole world to see. Hope he makes a roster, Tom. He's a good guy.
Good guy, good player, solid. He's a very solid player, and he showed right there with some of the other attributes that he has. He can play on special teams.
There's Olindo Mare to kick off. Raider lead at 27-24. He'll kick towards the black hole south end zone. Nick Miller takes it on the 1-yard line straight ahead. 10-15. Angles right a bit. 20. gets congested. Eric Pierce got blocked. And the whole pile forced, and Miller made it to the 24-yard line where he was tackled there by Marcus Brown, a backup defensive back, rookie free agent out of Arkansas State. 12 minutes and 1 second to go in the game. Raiders 24, Seattle Seahawks 24. This is the Oakland Raiders Broadcasting Network. Greg Papa joined by Tom Flores and Jim Plunkett, and the mere sight of that place has to make you guys smile, huh? Super Bowl 15 inside the Superdome in New Orleans. Cliff Branch from Jim. Cliff Branch again hit Kenny King earlier in the game, and the Raiders had their second Super Bowl. Jim is first as the quarterback, and Tom, you're first as head coach. Their third of 4 overall. Bowler's going deep. Nobody there. Brandon Myers was well covered. And it'll be a 2nd and 10. Of course, you guys would combine to win a Super Bowl a few years later. Super Bowl 18. And Mr. Plunkett, beyond me why you're not in Canton, Ohio. Jim is the only retired multiple Super Bowl winning quarterback not in the Hall of Fame. Terry Bradshaw's won 4, Joe Montana all in, Aikman and Brady. Tom Brady, of course, not yet retired. Bob Greasy, Jim, Bart Starr, Staubach, they're all in. Seems like that would be the yardstick to get you in the Hall of Fame. It'd be a couple of Super Bowls, Jim, but we're all hoping that you will get there one day soon.
Well, just keep your fingers crossed. We'll see.
And likewise for Coach Flores, Tom is on a short list that have won multiple Super Bowls.
You know, we would give him a bargain. You know, 2 for 1.
You go in together?
Yeah, 2.
That would be nice.
A 2 for.
That would be the fitting way for both of you to go in simultaneously, wouldn't it? You guys would probably need each other to cry on each other's shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boy, that'd be emotional. Maybe it'll happen that way. Bowler on a 3rd and 6. Back, throws middle, caught. Yaman figures. And he's got a Raider first down, tackled by that big safety, Cam Chancellor. And that time, Yaman did not drop it, Jim. He hauled that one in on 3rd down, and Bowler took a shot to the side.
You know, good route deep down the middle of zone coverage. That time by Seattle. Bowler's got about almost 150 yards passing in the second half already.
Well, the Raiders have moved the ball very well. They've run it well in the second half. Over 80 yards rushing. They're throwing it well. Bowler's doing a nice job. Handoff Michael Bennett off the right side. Flag thrown by the referee, Jeff Triplett. That's usually a holding on the offense.
Number 60, the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
You know, sometimes I just don't get it how he can see from that vantage point. You know, it's you know, you got the offensive lineman has normally their back to the umpire back there. How he can see whether they're holding or not beats me.
Yeah, I think you get a distorted view of myself that they're so far away. I agree with you. They can really, if you really look at the arms, you can call holding on almost any play. But they're so far back, you know, 15 yards back. How can they get a distorted view?
Yeah, a bunch of bodies all piled up there. It's hard to see.
Timeout. Seattle.
Seahawks call a timeout. That's the first timeout called by either team, isn't it?
No, Bowler called a timeout a little bit ago.
Did he? Yeah, you're right. Each team has 2 remaining.
It's a 30-second timeout.
Well, we have 10 minutes and 28 seconds to play in the 2010 preseason. A lot of reasons to be excited, Jim, about this team. But there's one of the main ones. Hugh Jackson and the play calling, the energy is brought to the offense, the way he's designing plays. This looks like this offense. There's one area for dramatic improvement in this team from last year. Last year's team scored only 17 touchdowns in 16 games. That's just not good enough. If the Raiders can get up and make a real substantial increase in that one category, boy, this team could be good.
Not only that, you know, if you're moving the ball offensively, you don't turn it over back towards your own goal line. It also makes your defense better. You know, they don't have their backs to the wall, their own goal line as often, and you know, the other team has to drive the length of the field.
How many flags on this play? 3 from all over the field. The Raiders never snapped the ball and their whole line moved. They're saying that Seattle was jumping around here. Ball was never snapped by Chris Morris. Jeff Triplett.
Both start. Number 72 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I don't know how you single out Eric Peters. They all moved.
Yeah, they're good. Well, the game's got the only thing I can point out in this game negative for the Raiders is way too many penalties. You know, they've done a nice job, defense, offense, with the exception of the run back on the special teams. But this is the most penalties they've had in any game this summer.
And a hold and a false start. Now it's 1st and 25. Bowler plenty of time though. Now going to roll to his left, look downfield. Now going to roll back right, slipping on the dirt. And now he's going to get hit, and he's sacked by the linebacker James Weiss, who they just signed as an extra player this week. Well, he had a long time to look downfield. That looks like a coverage sack for Weiss, as the Seattle secondary just would not let any of the Raider wide receivers uncovered.
No, they did a good job of staying with him, and he did look over the field, and he took a pretty good hit there. He's smarting a little bit on that one.
But when a situation like that happens, the quarterback's in trouble. He's running around. The receivers have to come back to him and make it an easier throw for the quarterback to make.
He actually scrambled forward for a couple of yards, so that will not be a sack. Here's a handoff and a good gain for Michael Bennett. Another flag comes in late in the play. Bennett got ankle tackled on the 36-yard line. Jeff Triplett.
Holding 74 the offense. 10-yard penalty. Take it down.
It's on Bruce Campbell, and Jeff Triplett's surname is living out here. He's called 3 penalties on this drive alone. All he's called on the Raider offensive line. That's enough now. Make it 11 penalties on the Raiders, 83 yards worth. Lyle Bowler took a shot. He's wearing a flak jacket. Jim, I think he got hit though on the left side. He's moving around a little slow. 2nd down and 33. Raiders back on their 20-yard line. Boy, it was a warm day and evening all around the Bay Area, but cooling off dramatically. The wind is whipping now. There's a handoff on a draw. And another flag comes in. 4 in a row. This one thrown by the umpire. Jeff Triplett, we've heard enough of you.
Holding 74 the offense. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
That's 2 in a row on Bruce Campbell.
Well, this is getting ridiculous, really, when you think about it. I mean, how can, if they're holding that much, then that's inexcusable. But 4 calls in a row, holding, what have they got there?
Well, this is the very reason why people think that it's a bad idea to move the umpire in the backfield with the referee, that there's going to be so many more holding calls because they're seeing the offensive line. And that's all they can see. 3rd and 25. Bowler back. Now going to run for his life. He'll get 35. He takes a big hit in the open field there. And a flag comes in for taunting. That's going to be on Seattle. Roy Lewis hit Bowler and then taunted him.
Will that be a first down?
That's an automatic first down.
And another penalty.
Not happy.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Taunting. Number 34 in the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
What's that line? That's 5 consecutive plays with a penalty.
So the rule is 1 unsportsmanlike undoes 4 offensive line calls. He did. I mean, Roy Lewis hit Bowler, and as Bowler was down on the ground, he jumped right up, and he over his fallen body. That's the video they show to the players, something you don't do, and the rookie taunted him. Just cannot do it. 1st and 10. Raiders out to the 49-yard line, their own. 8.5 to play. What are the odds on a flag here? No way. Bowler handoff. Michael Bennett off the right side, wrapped and thrown down by Tywon Hagler. No penalty on that play.
Wow.
Michael Bennett.
So do you think at one point in time they will move the umpire back to his original spot?
Well, I'll tell you, they've got to rethink that because, and I know that safety is the big issue with the umpires. But boy, I'll tell you, in my opinion, it's not working where he is right now. It's not working.
And you're not alone. And they've tweaked where he's setting up. It used to be he was 17 yards deep. Now he's at about 12 yards. Bowler will drop on 2nd and 11. Look left, throw deep left for Figures. No flag. And very good coverage down the sideline there. It's Kennard Cox, a free agent corner from Pittsburgh, running stride for stride with Figures. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 11. And again, we made this note earlier. In the previous preseason games around the NFL, they have, in the final 2 minutes of the half, repositioned the umpire back to where he was, and that is right in the linebacking core on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Tonight, throughout all of the games, all 16 games tonight, they're going to move the umpire back to that spot with 5 minutes to go in the game so he can reset the ball quicker. Here's Bowler back, looking left, throwing left, slipping down Jacoby Ford, and caught out of the air by Bodiford. I think he's shy of the first down, but very close. Where's Franco Harris?
That's going to be pretty close. They're going to have to measure that. That might be a first down.
That ball did not hit the ground. It ricocheted off a couple of bodies up into the air. And ultimately, Sean Bodiford, the Raider wide receiver, caught the deflected ball. Jacoby Ford was on the ground. And he's the guy that tipped the ball up. And then it hit one of the defensive backs, Cox.
25 seconds, 2-5 on the play clock. Thank you.
Is there any way that ball hit the ground, or did Jacoby Ford hit that before it hit the ground?
No, it did not. It did not hit the ground.
There's a Seahawk that is down. It is Kennard Cox. Jacoby Ford tipped that ball maybe twice, left hand, right hand, up into the air. It glanced off at Cox, and then it was caught by Bodiford. And just shy of the first down. It is 4th down and 1. Raiders. Might as well go for it here, huh, Tom?
Well, the other thing is the Seahawks could challenge it. I don't know. I've only seen one replay on it, and it was close. But I see Coach Campbell's got a little smile on his face.
I'm telling you, that ball hit Frenchie Fuqua. Alert play by Bodiford, young wide receiver out of Portland State. There was a rookie free agent signing of Detroit back in 06. Had a tremendous collegiate career in 2 years at Portland State. So 4th and 1. The Raiders will go for it here on Seattle's 32-yard line. 7:19 to play.
Seattle is challenging
They
the
are
ruling
going to
on the
challenge.
field of completed catch.
Head coach Pete Carroll has to get used to the instant replay in the NFL. Of course, in college, it's not all done from the field. It's done up in the booth. The coach can challenge, but a lot of it's taken care of, so he's going to work on that. Watching the replay, Jim, it looked like the ball did not touch the ground. Jacoby Ford on the ground, hit it with his left hand to his right hand, tipped the ball straight up in the air, deflected by Kennard Cox, caught by Bodiford. That ball never touched the ground.
It certainly doesn't look that way. Even from, we don't have a great angle, but from this last view of it, it certainly looks like the ball does not touch the ground, and it should be a catch for Bodiford.
Now, the disturbing element to that play is the way Jacoby Ford just slipped down to the ground. That's something the Raiders want to have him work on. They said we got to keep his feet underneath him when he's coming out of his breaks. Here's Jeff Triplett.
After review, the pass does not hit the ground, comes up and is caught by the Oakland player. His forward progress is correct at the 42-yard line. So the ruling on the field is confirmed. Seattle is charged their second timeout.
Pete Carroll is open-mouthed over on their sideline. He must have been told something different from his coaches, because that was pretty obvious live and on the replay that the ball never touched the ground.
He's saying this never happened at SC.
That's right. And if it did, it went his way.
Yeah. Especially when we played Stanford.
Well, it did happen one time last year against Stanford, right? 55 points the Stanford Cardinal laid on him. So the Raiders go 4th and 1 on the Seattle 42-yard line. They get a quarterback sneak again. Did not get a great initial push, but then they do. First down, Raiders. Raiders in a quarterback sneaking throughout the preseason. Kyle Bowler scored a touchdown. Jason Campbell has one. And Kyle Bowler sneaks for plenty. Probably a 2-yard pickup there, Jim. First down, Raiders.
You know, and as they say, you know, the shortest distance is a straight line, and that's the shortest way to get that first down. And I think he had a lot of help from his friends back there.
Well, you know,
shoving that pile.
Dangerous. I mean, here he is. He lowers his head. He's trying to get the first down, and he's getting nailed from behind by his fullback and halfback trying to push him more.
And Daniel Loper, the offensive lineman, was the guy who hit him. First and 10. 6.5 to play. Raiders 27, Seattle 24. John Owens, the tight end, moves in motion to right wing now. Hand off to Michael Bennett. Good block by Tonga, the fullback. And he swerves out for a couple. Luke Lawton is going to begin the year serving a 2-game suspension by league rules dating back to last year. He served the final 2 games. So he does not count on the Raiders' 53-man roster. So we'll see what the Raiders do with that spot. Currently, Marcel Reese has been most impressive as a blocker and also a pass catcher out of the backfield. But Anase Tonga has done some good lead blocking tonight. We'll see what the Raiders do with him. 2nd and 8 Raiders on the Seattle 38-yard line. Bowler is checking at the line of scrimmage here, getting some press coverage. Hand off to Michael Bennett up the middle, and he is dropped by Cam Chancellor, that oversized safety. on the Seattle 34-yard line. 5:40 to play in the preseason. And the one concern this point of the year, guys, is injury. The one that comes to mind is Walter McFadden. Limped off the field earlier tonight. Namdi made note of that during our conversation with him. Hopefully he's all right, referring to McFadden, the round 5 draft pick out of Auburn, who's played well as a cornerback. 3rd and 5, Raiders on the Seattle 35. Bowler in the gun, now moves up to audibilize. Play clock at 5. Slot formation right. Single up with Waterford left, a look right, a throw right, and right through the hands. Incomplete, a late hit though, and a flag comes in again on Roy Lewis. His 2nd personal foul of the series. As he hit, was that Jacoby Ford, I believe, late? It was Jacoby Ford.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 34 of the defense. Late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty.
Oh, man.
First down.
What the heck's he doing? Ball was dropped, Coach, and Jacoby Ford was out of bounds, and Lewis, a heartbeat late, just lit him up.
Yeah, just lit him up. I mean, he was just standing up, you know, had given up on the play after having dropped the ball. And whap. Yeah, he's keeping the drive alive with the penalties.
3rd-year corner out of the University of Washington. I'm surprised Coach Carroll's not taking him off the field here. He's had 2 personal fouls.
He might be taking him off the squad.
The 2nd warning for the Seattle Seahawks.
What's the warning?
2nd warning for the Seattle Seahawks.
For what?
Well, for Pete Carroll having his mouth open too much, I guess. I don't know. They're probably having to adjust that they can't be on the field.
USC's playing right now as we speak over in Honolulu. Here's the handoff. Big hole for Michael Bennett. Cuts inside. Hit by Tywan Hagler from behind and dropped on the Seattle 9-yard line. Well, the Raiders have just driven this ball on the ground, Jim, right down Seattle's throat. They have certainly been the beneficiary of 2 personal fouls, but what a drive this has been.
Yeah, in the second half, they certainly came out with the intention of running the ball much better than they did the first half, and they've certainly done that.
This might be a record, Greg.
4 penalties overcome.
The most penalties in one drive ever.
And it had to come in the final preseason game. How many got on this drive? 2 personal fouls on Seattle, 4 on the Raiders before that. There's Michael Bennett coming wide left, stiff arm, and he runs out of bounds on the 6-yard line, stiff arming Kennard Cox the whole way.
Yeah, but I'd like to counter that, Tom. In 1983, we opened up against Cincinnati in Cincinnati, and I swear one of our drives, every other play was a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Did you score?
We scored.
You scored.
Yeah. We got the ball in 20, and 160 yards later we scored. Oh, gosh.
The longest drive in the history of pro football. Michael Bennett's had a nice game. Handoff Bennett, 88 yards tonight. Trying to peck down and get to 90 and beyond. He's down to the 1 or 2 yard line. 4:15 to play. Raiders are extinguishing the clock. What a drive this has been. When the Raiders got the football, that was early in this quarter. There was 12 minutes to play when the Raiders got the ball. They've driven for 8 minutes here.
I think they got the ball yesterday, didn't they?
3rd and goal. Tonga, an offset eye. Counter handoff. Michael Bennett off the left side will dive down and not get in. So now what do you do after all this? A field goal keeps them within a touchdown of beating you. It'll be a 6-point game. Do you go for it?
I think he's going to go for it, yeah.
He's going to
go for it.
And I think that's a good call.
4th and goal from the 1 yard line.
You know, if you don't make it, they've got a long way to drive.
Raiders will stay in the huddle now. Play clock at 15. They break the huddle. 3:20 to play in the game. 4th and goal. Raiders on the 1 yard line. Trying to go up. 2 scores. Myers, the tight end, goes in motion left. True eye. Bennett behind Tonga off the left side. Did not get in. He got nailed. He got stuffed. He got driven down by Dexter Davis, the rookie round 7 defensive end from Arizona State. So Seattle gets the ball back with 3:09 to play. They are up against the end of their field over on the north side, and they do have 1 timeout remaining. George Atkinson, where have you been tonight? I missed you.
I'm here with running back Marcel Reese, and 3rd time trying to make this team. 3rd time a charm?
Oh, it feels good. You know, it's always good to end the camp confident in what you put on the field, what you put on the film. So, you know, I'm just out here trying to make plays.
Marcel, tell me about the adjustment from going from a tight end, a wide receiver, a fullback, and learning all these positions. You comfortable now at fullback?
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable just being on the field. Only thing I want to do is make plays. That's what I'm here for. That's what we're all here for. So it's always fun to get the ball in my hands and do anything with the ball, do anything on the field, and just try to help my team win.
Jeremy Ware just intercepted on a fly route to Golden Tate, but flags come down, and they're going to get Ware for a PI. Almost had the game there, Marcel. Too many flags tonight here.
Way too many. Way too many. That's one thing we're probably going to look at tomorrow once we get back in the film room and just focus on trying to be disciplined and not having any penalties at all.
Is this Labor Day weekend or Flag Day weekend? Ridiculous. All right, now you were talking about making plays. The one thing you can do, Jeremy Ware ran with Golden Tate, picked that ball off, but they call Jeremy for a PI, puts the ball out on the 27-yard line. First and 10, Seattle from there. J.P. Lossman back, pressured, steps up, runs for his life. 30, 35, slides down with a first down. Wow. That's a quarterback running out to the 44-yard line, a 17-yard scramble. And that's the one thing you can do at your position. We're not used to fullbacks who can run like you and catch like you. The Raiders are going to throw you the ball this year, aren't they?
You know what? I'm just waiting for my number to be called. If it gets to me in the air, if it gets to me on the ground, whatever happens, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to score, make plays.
How have you adjusted to being a lead blocker? Because we know you can catch the ball and run on the up and out, the wheel route. We saw you last week make a nice play on that. We've seen you catch the screen. How are you coming along as a lead blocking fullback?
You know what? Lead blocking has been one thing that I've really tried to focus on, especially this past offseason and the past 2 years, is just trying to focus on lead blocking, protecting my running backs, because I take a lot of pride in protecting these guys because we're friends off the field first and then on the field. And with Coach Cable and, you know, I have a lot of veteran guys with Richard Seymour and Tommy Kelly that have been trying to look out for me and trying to give me little techniques and little tricks, to say the least, and trying to convert me into being a better lead blocker. And that's one thing that I'm taking a lot of pride in. I'm confident in what I've been doing lately.
J.P. Lossman scrambling around for his life, rolls out right and threw it away. Have you ever been a lead blocker before the last few years?
No. I can honestly say I've never been a lead blocker, but now, you know, I'm embracing the role of being a lead blocker and also as a playmaker later. Coach Cable calls me a pseudo guard.
You're a big guy, 240. Marcel, thanks for your time.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
There's J.P. Lossman throwing out incomplete, and a hit right on the boundary there, but no flag coming in there on Jerome Boyd, trying to hit Nick Tau-Arnett, one of their tight end / fullbacks. So now it's 4th down for Seattle. They have run up against their final bullet with 2:21 to play in the game. Raiders up 27-24. Last chance for J.P. Lossman and the Seahawks tonight. There's Lossman going into the shotgun. He sends Golden Tate wide right, watched by Joe Porter, slot formation, left. Rubel Martin is the slot guy. Ben Obamano is out wide. There's Lossman back, throwing down the middle. Too high, incomplete. He overthrew Rubel Martin. The Raiders take over on downs. There is a 2-minute warning coming, and the Seahawks have 1 timeout left, so the Raiders will have to make a first down to end the game, but that certainly is a start towards winning the game.
This has been a very interesting game. I mean, the Raiders have done so many good things, but I know one thing that Coach Cable's going to talk to him about in the locker room: way too many penalties, and they got a little too sloppy. I don't care if you're fighting for your life or not. You cannot. You have to have discipline, and discipline means no penalties.
The Raiders have outgained Seattle in the second half, 278 yards to 34. Have you ever heard of such a thing? 278 to 34. Handoff Cartwright up the middle. That was a good lead block there by Luke Laughnett. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning here. Nope, Seattle's going to call a timeout.
Timeout.
They'll burn it here.
Seattle, their 3rd and final charge timeout. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
Well, timeout called with 2:12 to play, and the Seahawks are out of timeouts, though they will get the stoppage. So the Raiders are going to need to make 1 first down here to end the game. Compass Media Networks want to remind you to check out the Yellowbook 360 playbook on compassmedianetworks.com. Yellowbook 360, a full spectrum of marketing services. Go beyond yellow with the right combination of tools to fuel success for your business. Visit yellowbook360.com. Raiders 27, Seahawks 24. Seahawks are trying to get the ball back one last time. 2nd and 6, Raiders on Seattle's 39-yard line. There's a handoff to Cartwright up the middle, and that'll take us to the 2-minute warning here. The Raiders will face a 3rd down and 2 when we come back, and if the Raiders pick up that 3rd down, the game will be over.
The 2-minute warning.
27-24 Raiders, 2 minutes to play in the game on the Raiders Broadcasting Network.